Stadium for the 2017 homecoming matchup where California Hello and welcome into Adamson Stadium for the 2017 homecoming game. Welcome into the Adamson Stadium. My name is Danny Beck, and joined alongside me is Stephen Ruffing. And today, Steve. Hello and welcome into Adamson Stadium for the 2017 homecoming matchup where California will be taking on the Clarion Golden Eagles. Welcome into the broadcast. I am Danny Beck, and joined alongside me today is Stephen Ruffing. And Steve, California, 2 losses in a row. Last week took on IUP, and then the week before that lost to Slippery Rock. And for the other side, Clarion coming off of a win. They broke their 5-game losing streak.
Yeah, breaking that 5-game losing streak is such a big confidence booster for Clarion. And California, coming off of those 2 losses, I mean, you have to be rattled, but you want to come out in this game, homecoming. There's going to be a huge crowd. You got to have to get a win, build up that momentum to go along in the season.
Yeah, and California, really the thing that they need to focus on is just getting healthy.
Right.
Honestly, 2 back-to-back games, as I mentioned before, IUP and Slippery Rock, both away matchups. So 2 tough games. You really can't do anything about that, just the way that the schedule was drawn up. But for the other side, Clarion took on Seton Hill last week and got the victory, as I mentioned, 33-28.
Yeah, that's a huge win for Clarion going was it at Seton Hill?
It was at home, yeah.
At home.
Yeah.
And winning at home was so big, breaking that 5-game losing streak. I mean, that's huge for Clarion. They're probably at the top of their hopes right now. So coming into California, it's going to be a test for them. We'll see what California can do as well.
And Seton Hill gave California a run for their money a few weeks ago. And as I mentioned before, IUP last week, 26-10. Injury. That's really all you can say about the last game for California, and IUP took full advantage of that, just pouring on the points. It seemed like California really couldn't build any momentum the entire game.
Right, I mean, as simple as it comes, IUP was just the better team that day, and California, what they need to do is just step over that, don't look back, only look forward, and just forget about that loss, and now focus on homecoming against Clarion.
Yeah, well, when we come back after the break, we're going to have some football for you. We're going to see if California can get back on the right side of the win column.
Vulcan football is back. August 31st versus Ohio Dominican. September 9th versus Cheney. September 16th at Millersville. September 23rd versus Seton Hill. September 30th at Slippery Rock. October 14th versus Clarion. October 21st at Gannon. October 28th versus Mercyhurst. November 4th at Edinburgh. November 11th at East Stroudsburg. Catch all the action live with your home of the Vulcans. CUTV Sports 1 on YouTube and radio on 91.9 FM WCAL.
Dylan, what's wrong, man? I just don't know how my family back home in Buchanan, West Virginia can watch our stuff up here.
They can follow us on Twitter, or they can like us on Facebook.
That's awesome. What about our sports? How can they watch that?
They could watch it live right on our YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Do you want information on the 2017 Vulcan football team? Look no further than the Gary Dunn Show.
If I was really proud of our efforts, especially from our senior class that had been through a lot, and for those guys to walk out of here with a PSAC championship.
Coach looks back on last week's game and looks ahead to the upcoming opponent.
You know, we're really starting over and trying to build that foundation for the 2017 season.
Don't miss Vulcan highlights, PSAC standings, schedules, and much, much more. The Friday Night Lights shine on CUTV. August 25th, California at Brownsville. September 1st, Monessen at Carmichael's. September 8th, Southmoreland at Charleroi. September 22nd, McGuffey at Elizabeth Forward. September 29th, Franklin Regional at Connellsville. October 6th, Trinity at Bell Vernon. October 13th, Rochester at California. October 20th, Newcastle at Ringgold. October 27th, Washington at Best Center. Live on CUTV Sports 1, tape delay, CUTV.
Hello and welcome back into Adamson Stadium. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Check, check. 1, 2, 3.
Hello and welcome back into Adamson Stadium. And as I mentioned in the open, Steve, California, they're on a 2-game losing streak. And for Clarion, they come off a victory over Seton Hill last week. So it'll be a very interesting matchup to see how these teams really come out. We mentioned before, it was the homecoming matchup. A lot of, I guess, not nerves, jitters back at home in Adamson Stadium.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, some frustration as well. I mean, I'd watch out if I was Clarion. California is going to be coming out to look for a little revenge and come out strong. But look at this tail of the tape here. California all over the place on the board, beating out Clarion in almost every single aspect of the game, scoring, points allowed, rushing, passing, and total yards. That third down percentage is huge too. California, I mean, that's a big thing we see. We saw it at Slippery Rock. They had a lot of third down magic going. But, I mean, that's going to be huge in this game, and we'll see if California can keep all of these stats up.
Yeah, that would be pretty good for them. It would bode well for them. And actually, you were mentioning how California really leads Clarion in most other categories. Clarion's actually last in the PSAC in both scoring offense and total offense in general. So really that's something that Clarion really needs to work on. We look here at the series history as California leads 46-28-3.
And Clarion coming to Adamson Stadium, they haven't won since the 2000. So they're going to be trying to come out here after 17 years without a win at Adamson Stadium. So it's going to be an interesting game. The first game, 1923, dating back a long time. The last meeting, of course, was the PSAC matchup last year, and California came out with that victory, 48-20.
And Clarion was at home for that matchup, so now they're coming back into Adamson Stadium, just trying to get a victory. Just trying to stay on that right side of the win column. And California is trying to get over there. We mentioned before that the IUP game, it really didn't seem like California could really gain any momentum as the contest went on. You saw there was a few interceptions that really broke everything up, broke their confidence up, if you will. But, I mean, now, beautiful day out, 83 degrees at kickoff, and doesn't look like any rain. I don't want to jinx it, but it doesn't look like any rain. It's weird to think that it's in the middle of October, Stephen.
Yeah, it's the middle of October. I mean, we couldn't be blessed more with this weather that we're having. I mean, last year during homecoming it rained, and the year before that when California actually played Clarion on homecoming week, it rained there too. So we've been pretty unlucky these past two homecomings since we've been here with that rain, but it's nice to see the sun out, no clouds in the sky. It's a beautiful day for football.
Oh, and you said 2 years ago when it rained. That resonates with me due to the fact that I was just a young pup. I was a young freshman standing out in the end zone, and my entire backside was soaked, and the front side was dry. Don't ask me how that happened. I have no idea. I guess just the way I was standing. But it was it's a great – I like this weather over the rain, without a doubt. And this field, too, we were talking to a gentleman up in the press box before. The rain, there hasn't really been much rain, so this field really hasn't been able to settle in. So it's still that, it's kind of the slippery out there, I guess you could say, out there on the turf. But California's played on this turf quite a few times already this season and practicing on it. So they're probably used to it. But for Clarion, new turf, that brings up a whole new ball game, if you will. Yeah,
it's going to throw both teams through the loop, especially Clarion. Are going to come out and try to adjust to this field. I mean, it is slippery, just like you said. The only rain we really had since the season started was a couple days ago, where kind of ended that little drought that we were in. We'll see how both teams play on this field. We see California every time they're at home and see how they have been adjusting to it, but Clarion coming in for the first time on this new turf, we'll see how they adjust to it.
Yeah, and California 3-0 at home this season, so they can say that they're used to this turf for now, but California will be kicking off, so they're going to get the ball in the second half of play, something that head coach Gary Dunn likes to do. He likes to have the ball last, likes to score. So nonetheless, now Will Brazil lining up the kickoff. And back to receive for Clarion is two men. Brazil's kick is away. That is going to be received in the end zone, so you're obviously going to think kneel it at this point. A few bodies out there falling all over the place for Clarion, and that was number 10, Dorian Johnson, a familiar name to us. We hear his name on High School Roundup last year, but Steve, look at these defensive starters out there on the field. I know that Justin Baker, that defensive presence on the outside, really needs to step up here today.
And you know what? I look at that the defensive starters, and I see senior. I see a lot of adjusting next season with all of those seniors that are going to be leaving at the end of this season. At the end of this year, I should say.
Yeah, at the end of the year. That's the most important part. And quarterback for Clarion, Asante Woolard. Woolard gives the ball off and is going to be brought down in the backfield, by Luke Rapchak.
And that's one of those seniors that you saw in those defensive starters. It's going to be a big loss as he picks up a tackle. But let's take a look at Clarion's offensive starters. Quarterback, Asante Woolard, and you saw Marcus McCoy, Greg Leonard, Mason Standard, three very good wide receivers there for Clarion.
And Kyle Evans leading the team with 328 yards rushing this season. So I'd like to get him involved early on in this contest. Woolard drops back in the pocket, gives it over to Evans. Nice little screen on the outside. Clarion working up the field, turns around and gets brought down by Corey Bach.
And you know what? That's how Slippery Rock made their way down the field multiple times. Once they got in a rhythm, those screen passes really affected California's defense.
Yeah, and that was a great execution there as Kyle Evans played the play. He kind of showed him that he was going to block and then bounce out to the outside. That allowed them to pick up a first down. The ball is going to be at the 32-yard line. Actually, no, the 35. Scoreboard messed up, I promise you. Back in the shotgun set is Woolard. Woolard gets it and then gives it right over to Kyle Evans yet again, working into the interior of this California defense as he picks up a gain of 2 on the play.
Kyle Evans early in this game getting a lot of touches, moving down that field, getting your offense going. You like to hand that ball off to the running back multiple times. You see here he didn't do much on this play. California just clogged that hole in the middle of the field and didn't let the running back get anywhere.
That's something that California has really been pretty sound on this entire season, just on the interior of their defense, locking down, crashing on the tackles or the guards and not allowing any easy gains up the middle. Evans almost got the give, and then Woolard decides to keep it himself, dives forward for about a gain of 4 on the play.
Woolard taking his game to the ground. You see that a lot. Teams running on California, the quarterback especially. Again, another way to affect California's defense is a dual-threat quarterback.
Yeah, dual-threat quarterbacks is something that California couldn't handle last week against IUP, as Lenny Williams was just running all over the place, passing. He could do it all for his team. California not trying to allow that to happen, I guess you could say. 3rd and 3, ball on the 42-yard line. Woolard gives it, takes it actually. Woolard looking out to throw, and Todd Coles was right there as the ball falls incomplete out of bounds.
That would have been a pretty nice play for Clarion if that one fell through. Didn't look like Asante Woolard knew what he wanted to do with that. I mean, look at him. He didn't know whether he wants to pass or run. He obviously couldn't run. That California defender was right on his tail. And if that one worked out, that would have been huge for the Golden Eagles.
And I was saying he has it, he almost has it, but I wasn't really sure what was going on as Woolard was running out to the outside and looked to throw at the last minute. A low snap, but Clarion corrals it in the area of Chad Livingston. Big hit, though, pushes the ball forward, a big bounce, rather. And that's going to be at just about the 15-yard line, and that's where California will have their first possession of the ballgame.
And we'll see what California does. We take a look at their offensive starters. Michael Keir, that quarterback for California, he's going to be looking for his wide receivers, Tyson Hill, Luke Samori, and Tom Green. You see Tyson Hill on that board because Jordan Dandridge out for California. We said before that California riddled with injuries. Dylan Stallings playing the tight end role. Jimmy Wheeler, he's going to be the starting running back again, riddled with injuries in the running game.
Yeah, and you were mentioning senior players out there for both sides of the ball, I guess offense and defense. Luke Samori actually is leading the team on all-purpose yards, has about 107 all-purpose yards per game. So we're going to look to lean on him as Jalen Bell takes it to the outside, starting the contest off with a run. And Jalen Bell, it kind of seemed like last week he got started and then he kind of just fell off, and that's where Jimmy Miller was really able to pick up.
And here's the guys that are going to be looking to take down California's threat of an offense. We'll see what California can do to get past this defense. They're going to have to change something up from last week against IUP.
And they're pushed back in their own, I guess, side of the field at the 15-yard line, 2nd and 11. Michael Kearse on that shotgun set as he diagnoses the defense. And he's going to do another run right up the middle, and that's going to be Jalen Bell yet again. And he's going to be pushed back. See where he picks up some forward progress.
California sporting those all reds, the red on red. The first time in a while they've done that. Maybe looks good, saving those uniforms for homecoming.
I was going to say the last time I saw it, I believe, was last year against IUP.
Really?
I wasn't even at that contest. I remember watching it on CUTV. I went home for that. But nonetheless, California now trying to draw Clarion off sides and cannot, so he drops back and barks out another play. Bell still out there. Tyson Hill, Luke Smory, Tom Green, and Chad Livingston. Drops back to throw this time, looking over in the area of Luke Smory, trying to push forward and cannot, as he just puts his head down and absorbs the hit. There seems like there's a lot of after the play talking, pushing, shoving from Clarion, and California is just feeding right into it, it seems.
Yeah, California falls short of that first down. Luke Smory catching that ball, doing anything he can to get past that Clarion player, just gets tied up with those legs and isn't able to do much after the catch.
And now the punt team comes out for California. Got to say, it has to be pretty confusing if you're a head coach to decide, since Michael Keir stays out there on the field, if you're not seeing this for the first time, which if you're a smart football guy, you're going to watch some film.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, it kind of looks a little bit odd, as Keir's kick will be returned by Dorian Johnson, will not be, and the ball is out. There's a flag. I did not see a fair catch, but
I did not either.
he still can't hit him. I'm not sure, just running into him, clearly.
There is a flag on the play.
As we're going to see interference with the catch, obviously. With
right.
I didn't see him throw the fair catch. I didn't see him throw a hand up, but we're going to see the play after the call is diagnosed, I guess, by the head referee, which obviously you have to think at this point. The flag is right where Dorian Johnson was. But not heads-up play. You got to say that California's special teams, I know that this was for California. They're punting it away, but the special teams for California has most definitely stepped up this entire season.
Big time. And, he didn't call the fair catch, but he didn't even come close to touching the ball before getting hit.
Yeah, fair catch interference. You don't see that much. Normally the defense kind of just lingers around in the area, kind of tries to get in the person who's in the head of the person who's looking to bring it in, and there is no foul. Pretty confused, but nonetheless, we're going to see he was thrown down. I'm not sure exactly, as he was blocked into the receiver. Maybe pushed from behind, but then that could arise another flag. But nonetheless, that's where Clarion will set up their second possession of the game. That is interesting, none the least. It's we were talking about how California really has to get some jitters out. I don't know, maybe the referees are as well. But that's where Clarion will be in the shotgun set with Woolard out there still. Kyle Evans to his right, now moves to his left. And he will get the give on the outside to Evans. Pick up a few on that play, but you mentioned, Steve, Kyle Evans getting quite a few touches early on in this game.
Yeah, really just getting those feet moving, utilizing your running game early in the contest. I mean, see what this California defense is made of. We'll see if they eventually transition to the game in the air. So we'll see what Clarion has for us.
And a tackle on the outside from Brennan Edwards as well. Kind of shed his block and got an arm on Kyle Evans. Now Woolard has an empty backfield next to him, and he's looking to throw. Throws it over in the area of Kyle Evans. That might be his favorite target out there, as Aaron Brown was right there to kind of get in the head of Evans.
Yeah, and if Evans would have caught that one, he was in a whirl of trouble, as Aaron Brown was right on his tail. He almost got lucky that ball was overthrown.
A little bit of a wheel route to the outside. You like to see that if you're a head coach for the team that's doing it, at least the team that's for the defense, that can sometimes really mess things up. You see a running back on the outside lined up, and then he kind of goes around the outside. Kind of get you on your heels a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Now Wood has trips to his left. He's going to give the ball this time to Kyle Evans. Evans has some open field in front of him, but the Red Sea is right there to gobble him up.
Tried dancing around a couple California defenders, but wasn't enough. He's going to have to punt this one away, unable to get that first down. He makes a good move getting past the line, but then he is just swarmed by a sea of red, trying to dance around those defenders, keep those feet moving, but he gets brought down.
You mentioned punt team comes back out for Clarion. Both teams now having a 3-and-out.
So far, a riveting game.
Oh, without a doubt. It always is. As D'Angelo Mitchell and Chad Livingston back to receive this punt. And there is a flag, a late flag, as now D'Angelo Mitchell receives it. looking up the field and then gets brought down. There was a flag as it looked like California might have jumped in there, which would give Clarion a fresh set of downs as referees are pointing over to California.
Offside.
And it is offsides on California.
5-yard penalty results in a first down.
And Clarion gets a first down just like that. You can't afford those stupid penalties early on in the game. You can see that right in the middle of your screen. Jumped them. And a late flag as well. It kind of seemed like it was pretty evident from up here that somebody jumped, but referees called the flag, and Clarion's offense comes back out onto the field.
California started off the season strong with no penalties in that first game against Ohio Dominican that we saw, but a lot has changed, and that's one of the things that you see a lot out of this defense, and a little bit on the offense is jumping a little too early.
Willard's still back out there, and the quarterback looks to throw and cannot connect with his receiver. And you're mentioning that it kind of seems like later on in this season, a lot of things have changed. And that might be due to the injuries, too, not having the most experienced players out there, maybe the backups, the second string, even third string in some cases. But this secondary for California it seems like they're the young guys out there on the field. And, Lamont McFadder stepping up huge for his team, a transfer from Ball State. I believe this might be his fourth game. I'm not sure if he picked up an interception against IUP, but that would have been 4 consecutive, even 5 consecutive games with an interception. So he's definitely doing his part out there on the field. As brought up the middle of the field, that was number 20, Malik McGriff.
McGriff, the ball carrier.
McGriff trying to make his way through those big California defenders. He finds his hole. He breaks a tackle there. Almost had a chance to bring him down early. Picks up a few yards after contact. Keeps the feet moving. Picks up a few more. And just a little short of that first down.
That was Malik Akins there to bring McGriff down. As trips over to his right for Willard. As number 22, Scott Florence, a new check-in for this Clarion Golden Eagles team. Garnett on the outside is looking to blitz, but Willard notices that and goes to the right and picks up a first down. And just, you mentioned before, the dual threat quarterbacks really eat up California's defense, and right there showed exactly why.
Yeah, and California got fooled on that one. Fakes that handoff, reads the defense, finds that hole to his right side, right on that California logo, picking up that first down. And Clarion is right now just moving. They're moving smoothly down the field.
This option-style offense that Clarion is running, they kind of drag the ball with them. It kind of gets us up here, at least me. I don't want to speak for you, Steve, but right there, another one up the middle of the field. And that one did not work out, though, as Willard kind of gave him a little bit late as Florence had to adjust and could not, as California was right there.
And you got to think, you got to be careful with those. Sometimes they could fool themselves as there's a little miscommunication between the quarterback and the running back that almost happened there. The quarterback may want to keep that ball, but the running back also wants to take it and force a fumble. So you got to watch out for that. I mean, sometimes those tricks can be a little too tricky.
Is now Willard still in that shotgun set. 3 wide receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Give this designed run this time over to number 20, McGriff yet again. Sheds off 1 tackler and gets right out to about the 50-yard line.
The Golden Eagles showing their depth in that running game with McGriff and Evans rotating back and forth. And you saw Evans go out running some routes as well, playing a little receiver role as well.
Yeah, could not bring it in, so maybe he's better off on the ground. He's showing his skills with his feet. As now Willard out there with an empty backfield yet again. 2 wide receivers to his right and 3 to his left, and 2 to his right. Drops back to throw, middle of the field, and ball is brought in a huge hit. Just a suplex even.
A German suplex.
Yes, that was quite the hit, and I believe we're going to see on this replay who made that hit. I believe it was number 24. No, it was not 24. Nick Grissom's number is, it was 21, so that was Devontae Suber. But just a huge hit. You don't normally see that in football.
Yeah, Devontae suplex, to say the least.
No flag on the play. You normally see there's a flag even
Let the boys play.
Yeah, it's kind of on that line of would you really call the flag at that point? As
I was waiting for like a people's elbow when he's on the ground. Just slap that elbow and get on the ground.
as Chris Weibel comes over, head coach for Clarion, and discusses it with the head referee, kind of shrugging his hands. But Steve, now we're going to take a look at the PSAC West. California, 2 losses. They kind of sit right in the middle of the pack. Mercyhurst above them. We didn't really see that last season. It was really the IUP Slippery Rock in California show. Edinburgh sneaking up there as well last season. But those 2 losses comes to pretty much the best 2 teams really in the country.
Yeah, and as you see there, Mercyhurst, and it's not going to be all peaches and cream the rest of the season. Now that you got that Slippery Rock and IUP game away, you still have Mercyhurst, and surprisingly, I think Gannon can give them some trouble next week. So it's not going to be an easy rest of the season now that you have Slippery Rock and IUP out of the way.
Yeah, and most definitely. And you said it's not going to be cupcakes, I guess you can say.
Peaches and cream.
Yeah, peaches and cream. Yeah, even better. Desserts are the best. But nonetheless, the Gannon, this run game, that's going to be difficult for California to stop. Just making ridiculous numbers out there in Erie. And also most of the teams looking forward, we were looking at this game, and the quarterback, Woolard, playing at UCLA, playing at USF, just coming in, and you really have to circle his name.
Yeah.
And that's what we're pretty much going to be doing looking later on in the season. As Woolard and company come back out onto the field, kind of in a wishbone formation. Woolard gives it over to Kyle Evans, and California right there to stop him, and the ball is out. As he pushes forward, it looked like he was going to get stopped, but California then stripped the ball, and then they push forward for a first down.
Looks like they threw that marker down to say that he was down. It wasn't a fumble.
I think he threw the marker out to really signify the fact that the ball is out, that there was a fumble. We're going to see what the call is, though.
Oh, no, it doesn't look like they're going to give it to him.
On the field is the running back. Fumbled.
Oh, wow.
To gain. Recovered by our lineman in advance. By rule, the ball will be spotted back. Placed in a fumble. First down, Cal.
And it will be California's football.
Wow.
I'm not sure what rule that exactly is, as he was pushed back. I guess they're going to give him, say that he was stopped. But the forward progress, I guess the backward progress, I guess you could say his progress was halted. And then the ball came out and the lineman pushed forward. So California will take over possession. Worked out in their favor. I thought that they were going to say that by rule, since the lineman picked up the ball and pushed forward, that they were going to give them the first down.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that rule.
No, most definitely
I did
not.
like seeing the lineman run with that ball. I think, there should be a rule where the linemen, for at least one play of the game, have to run the ball. I mean, how great would that be?
I
that
agree with that, yeah.
Will spice up the sport a little bit.
And we saw yesterday with Jelani Stafford,
basically
the California high school game, he's 6'3", 265, so he's pretty much a lineman.
Yeah.
But he's killing it over there in California. As Michael Keir in that shotgun set. Jimmy Wheeler, a new check-in for the Vulcans as he pushes forward, and that speed allowed him to pick up a few more yards.
Yeah, and you know what? He doesn't have the size, but once he gets those feet moving, it's hard to bring him down. I mean, he just keeps chugging along, especially when he gets into the open field. It's really tough to catch him.
Yeah, and I know when I played football, it was always just keep your feet moving, more in blocking or anything like that. But Jimmy Wheeler executes that to the T.
Right.
Always keeps his feet moving, always looking upfield, trying to pick up extra yards. And he's having a shot now since there's some running back injuries, I guess you could say. As Wheeler gets the nod yet again, pushes up the middle of the field, gets out to just about the 50-yard line, so marking a gain of 3 on the play.
Wheeler right now just struggling to get past that line, doing everything he can. Personally, I think he's more of a east-west runner, and then once he goes out wide, he finds his room up the field. But right now, just kind of struggling, trying to get through that line.
It is a 3rd and 5 now for California. Ball on the 49-yard line. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first quarter play. Keir has 3 wide receivers to his right and 1 to his left. Kier gets it back and looks to throw over in the area of Wheeler. Could not bring it in. Good coverage there from number 20, I believe, for Clarion.
Clarion bringing the pressure to Adamson Stadium. Look at that, just pressuring Jimmy Wheeler. Wheeler heard some footsteps, bobbled that ball, and it fell out of his hands. He had room too, so that could have been a potential first down, but Jimmy Wheeler unable to hang on to it.
That was actually Lane Skundrich, a junior from North Allegheny. A lot of local guys from both of these teams close to Pittsburgh. Kier still out there to punt this ball away. Punt, spiral punt. This time Dorian Johnson throws his hand up and gets the fair catch, so that's where Clarion's third drive of the game will start off. And Steve, it seems like both of these teams really can't get past the line of scrimmage. I mean, Clarion's moving the ball a little bit better than California, but you can see right there when California has the ball, when Clarion has the ball, they're last in scoring, last in the PSAC in scoring, only 13.5 points. But it seems like this run game is really working in the right direction, at least in this contest.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're right behind California in the rushing department. 102 to California's 108, so we'll see if Clarion could spice that up during this game.
Willard's still out there and is going to give the ball off to his running back, working up the middle of the field, and that was number 20, Malik McGriff, yet again.
McGriff making his way back into the game, just switching out between him and Evans. It's nice to see that this team has some depth in the running game.
It's something that California doesn't like to see because this run game is kind of slicing and dicing at this point. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first quarter. Ball on the 23-yard line. It's going to be a 2nd and 6. Willard gives it over to his running back yet again. McGriff working up the middle of the field. Good tackle there by Corey Bopp, just getting in the hole and not allowing any more progress.
Corey Bopp laying down the law. Hitting the runner on that one. Putting his shoulder down right there, just stopping him. Corey Bopp, an immovable object in that circumstance.
Corey Bopp kind of popped onto the field this season for the defense. It was always about Luke Rapchak, but now both on either side of the ball, it kind of seems like Luke Rapchak lines up in the middle and Corey Bopp picks a side to really attack. And now California is showing blitz to Willard as one guy moves for Clarion. Drops back in the pocket and is actually going to give the ball off to his running back. And they are not going to pick up the first down here, bringing up a 4th down.
Yeah, struggling so far on that drive at least in that running department. Just can't get past California's defense. California staying strong on that defensive side.
And Clarion standing just as strong on their defensive side as now the punt team comes back out yet again. A lot of special teams action we're going to see here today, Steve. Back and forth. It seems like both these teams really can't get started. Just grinding it out in this first quarter of play. 1 minute and 20 left as Clarion kicks this ball away. Almost blocked as it took a friendly Clarion bounce. But California will start it, their third possession of the contest, at just about the 49-yard line, Clarion's 49-yard line, so great field position for Gary Dunn.
Absolutely. I mean, let's check out what California does when they have the ball. 36 in scoring, 115 rushing, 274 passing, 390 total yards. California struggled the past 2 games, but looking to get back in it, and maybe we'll see them go through the air.
Michael Kieran, that shotgun set. 2 wide receivers to either side. Or 1 rather. 1 minute and 13 seconds left. Kieran looks up, steps up in the pocket. There is a flag on the play. Tom Green trying to make some space for himself and cannot. Good defensive coverage there. As I mentioned, though, there is a flag.
Yeah, and we'll see what this is going to do. And that ball, that almost some trouble there for Kier. Underthrowing that one for Tom Green. Tom Green almost had a chance at the tip, but just went a little away from him. It's California. They're going to get flagged for holding.
Yeah, and in that situation, the holding might have helped Michael Keir step up in the pocket. We're going to check a look on this replay, and you can see it quite evident right there, as I believe that was going to be number 64, Christian DeGalbo, just trying to get his hand on a guy right in front of him and could not. So he had to grab onto something to help his quarterback get up in the pocket. And also the throw from Michael Keir, it really didn't seem like it was going to reach Tom Green. Tom Green maybe a little bit too fast for Keir's liking. Kind of underthrew Tom Green, but Michael Keir now trying to right his wrongs as looking over to Dylan Stallings. Stallings pushes forward across the 50-yard line and gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Dylan Stallings stepping in big time for Paul Butler, who graduated after last season. Michael Keir loves to go to those tight ends, as you see there as he goes to Dylan Stallings, picking up a few yards, getting past that original line of scrimmage, just doing his part, doing whatever he can for this offense.
Yeah, Michael Keir definitely likes to use his check down routes, most definitely, and taking advantage of those is something that you like to see out of a quarterback, having that vision down the field. As a pass over here to Luke Samori, something that California loves to do, kind of a screen on the outside. And we're going to see where they mark him, but I believe he will pick up the first down. Good blocking there from Chad Livingston as the clock is stopped at 20.7.
And he will pick up the first down. Luke Samori so consistent, so powerful, just one of Michael Keir's favorite targets on the field.
And a great target at that, just because of the fact that he makes plays after the play is already made, if you will, if that makes sense. Just getting out there on the field as the first quarter will come to a close, but we're going to keep it here just simply due to the fact that, Steve, it's homecoming, so a lot of alumni are coming back into California, and actually there's going to be a 2007 the undefeated football team played against Valdosta State and lost. Just a great team, one of the first undefeated teams in California's history, as now they're going to be walking off into the end zone. You can hear over the loudspeaker.
And during the parade that we covered this morning, there was a few of them sitting on top of a fire truck, and so they made their way into the parade. It was a fantastic atmosphere. We even got a little shout out from one of the players, shouting out CUTV. So he remembers us. So a fantastic season, fantastic recognition of the 10-year anniversary of this 2017.
We always like to see that, as head coach Gary Dunn, and alumni himself, comes over and gives a little bit of a clap over in their direction. Hey, our director, Gary Smith, remembers that fondly, I guess you could say, and says that they're one play away from a national championship. And, you know, these things happen, you know, and California last season, undefeated as well, and then they lost to Shepherd, so we know how that feels, most definitely. So now California has a fresh set of downs working with. First and 10 at the 37-yard line. Keir has two wide receivers to his left in Tom Green and Luke Samori. Gets the ball and fakes the give over to Jalen Bell, then tries to find Beauregard Jones, could not, as the ball falls incomplete.
And that pocket collapsed as fast as that play started. You got to think that freshman, those two freshmen on that left side of the offensive line have been struggling this season. I mean, have been rushing Keir a lot. You know, Keir has seen a lot of players rushing him.
That was actually Nathaniel Scott on the outside. The ball was kind of not a complete spiral, kind of came out a little bit awkward, not in the area of Scott. So now Keir drops back in the pocket on second down, throws it over to Jalen Bell. Bell making some space for himself, and we'll get to just about the 30-yard line.
Kane on the stop.
California just moving their way up the field. Michael Keir finding his man outside, picking up a few yards, running into trouble, just running into a few Golden Eagles.
I haven't really seen Jalen Bell get into the passing game. You normally see him in the rushing game quite a bit. But, I mean, take advantage. If you can get your defense or get the opposing defense kind of comfortable with just using him in the run game, then why not switch it up? As now Jalen Bell will get the nod in the run game, trying to push forward and pick up a first down. See where they're going to mark him. I believe he is going to be marked short. So now California, it looks like the offense is staying out there, so they're going to look to pick this one up. Like that aggressiveness from head coach Clarion.
And why not? Homecoming, go for it. You need points on the board. 0-0 still going in the start of the second quarter here. So why not? I mean, I like this decision.
13 minutes and 40 seconds left before halftime. Mentioned it is a 4th and 1, ball on the 28-yard line. They're going to give the ball right off to Jalen Bell, and Bell will clearly pick up that first down. Good job from that right side of the offensive line to just open up a hole for him to burst right through.
Yeah, he found that hole, made his way through, picking up that huge first down, and this is the closest California has gotten to score so far in this game.
California would like to score at this point. As you mentioned, this is the closest they've got, so you gotta take advantage of these situations.
Absolutely.
As now there is 2 wide receivers to Kier's left, 1 to his right. Jalen Bell by his side. Looking at the play clock now with 2 seconds left. Kier gets the ball, drops back in the pocket, looking to throw. Over in the area of, I believe that is going to be Luke Smorey, and it will be, as he took advantage right there. Look, a little bit of a speed difference as Luke Smorey just burned his defender and gets the touchdown.
And you know what? Just when you thought that ball was overthrown, it turned into a gem into the corner of the end zone. Luke Smorey picking up a lot of ground in that end zone, just a dime right into the arms, cradling that ball like a baby in the end zone for the first touchdown of this game and the first touchdown for California.
And I said that Luke Smorey burned his defender, and that was Miles Edmonds, the senior. Didn't really match up well against Luke Smorey, as Will Brazil's kick is up a little bit low, but nonetheless it is good. Maybe a little bit of a awkward hole, but California takes advantage of their good drive, 7-0. Stay tuned. We're going to see if Clarion can answer right back right here on CUTV.
Vulcan football is back. August 31st versus Ohio Dominican. September 9th versus Cheney. September 16th at Millersville. September 23rd versus Seton Hill. September 30th at Slippery Rock. October 14th versus Clarion. October 21st at Gannon. October 28th versus Mercyhurst. November 4th at Edinburgh. November 11th at East Stroudsburg. Catch all the action live with your home of the Vulcans. CUTV Sports 1 on YouTube and radio on 91.9 FM WCAL.
Hello and welcome back into Adamson Stadium. You see the guy right there on your screen. Luke Smorey got into the end zone and made the score 7-0 on a beautiful pass from Michael Kier in the corner of the end zone. So Will Brazil will line this kick up. We do have some PSAC scores from across the state here for you next. After Clarion receives this, actually it's going to roll into the back of the end zone, so it will be a touchback. But I mentioned, since we are actually, we're going to take a look at this replay, Steve, and you're going to look at right here exactly why Luke Smorey got open.
Yeah, Michael Kier, he drops back, just launches that ball, trusts his wide receiver to get there, and he does. And that one's just going to fall in his arms like a sweet, gentle little baby into the end zone for the first touchdown. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better throw from Kier.
And now we're going to take a look at the scores from across the state, and exactly IUP is up 17-10 over Slippery Rock. Pretty interesting matchup there. One of the top 2 teams I mentioned before, but IUP on the right side of it. Now Wooler back out there on the field for Clarion. Fakes the give and keeps it himself. Wooler now trying to make some space up the field for himself and could not as he was dragged down. But Bloomsburg up 20-19 over Westchester. East Stroudsburg's down 9-27 against Kutztown, and Millersville is up 7-0 over Lockheed.
And just look at those fake handoffs. I mean, he plays them so perfectly, really faking out the California defense on that one. Didn't pick up many yards. Loss of 2, actually.
You mentioned that, Steve. It is 2nd and 12. Ball on the 23-yard line for Clarion. Willard gives it off this time to Kyle Evans. Kyle Evans had some space over to that left side, but Justin Baker, actually, no, that was number 55, Diamond Thomas, right there to get in and gobble him up.
In California's defense, like dogs on raw meat right now, just everywhere on the field, not letting Clarion get anything going right now.
And Diamond Thomas will be coming back. It's interesting to see how many seniors are on this team for California and how many people they're really going to be losing. Diamond Thomas will be coming back, one of those ferocious powers on the outside of the ball. Kind of lines up just similar to how Corey Bopp does, kind of that poaching linebacker. So now California showing the blitz, and Clarion almost took advantage as Devontae Suber comes in and breaks up the pass from, or it was intended for Devin Clark.
And Suber having one heck of a defensive game right now. Another 3 and out for Clarion, not able to do anything about this Red Army of a defense in California. I mean, just shutting down anything that they throw at them.
Back to receive yet again is D'Angelo Mitchell and Chad Livingston. Clarion backed up at the 22-yard line as it's 4th and 13. Gets the punt away, and that's in the area of Chad Livingston. Livingston receives it just about the Cal logo, trying to push up the field, puts his head down, almost runs over somebody. And now they're back into the area of Clarion. But now we're going to look at some PSAC schedules. The schedule for today, I mentioned quite a few scores. The Mercyhurst and Edinboro game, another game that California really has to circle, being that they have to play both of these teams later on in the season.
Yeah, and I mean, you got a close game in the eastern Pennsylvania, Bloomsburg at Westchester right now, 20-19 in the 4th quarter. So that's a close one there. And you got to look at that IUP and Slippery Rock game. IUP right now has the lead, and we'll see if they can keep that up. I mean, that's the biggest game right now in the PSAC.
And I mentioned the Mercyhurst and Edinboro game. Mercyhurst is actually up 17-14 in the 3rd quarter. California trying to make some space of their own on the scoreboard, 7-0. Good block there from Jalen Bell, allows Michael Keir to get out to the left side, but he's forced to just throw this ball away, as there was only Tom Green in the area, and there was 3 Golden Eagles right around.
Yeah, just had nothing going for him on that one. The defense was covering those receivers very well, and Keir just seeing some pressure again. That pocket collapsed once again, and Keir had to scramble out wide to get that throw off.
So now Keir with a 2nd and 10, ball still on the 47-yard line. 2 wide receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Got a Cal U chant in the background. You can hear that from the crowd getting into it as Keir now looks over in the middle of the field to Tom Green on a little bit of a slant route. As Green comes up kind of with his hands to either one of his sides, he's kind of confused as to why nothing was called on that one.
Yeah, and we'll see. Keir has his eye on his target the whole time, and that was barely anything going on there for defensive pass interference.
Yeah, with Tom Green out there on the field, as well as with now Chad Livingston's coming out on the field. We're really missing Jordan Dandridge. Jordan Dandridge out, I believe. We don't want to speculate, but we haven't seen him in quite a few weeks. We're going to see if he maybe comes back out onto the field, but got to kind of work with what you have at this point for California, as Keir looks over in the middle of the field. A great catch there from Chad Livingston. Kind of just shed off his receiver kind of as he was catching it, landed right on the defender.
Yeah, and goes up for that ball, bounces off one of the defenders, hits him with a spin move and picks up a little more yards right there, bounces off the defender. A spin move there, makes his way up the field. Chad Livingston, so far so good.
Yeah, helping California just move down the field yet again on consecutive drives. Now Clarion has to lock down on defense, as Jalen Bell will get the ball right up the middle of the field, or the middle of the, the line just opened up a gap, and he just exploited that.
And he almost had that first down, but before, he just barely being dragged down. He had that hole open. The player got to his foot. Oop.
Jalen Bell will be brought down in the backfield, as you mentioned we were still diagnosing the play, and then California quick got back to the line of scrimmage. Kind of a little bit of a hurry-up offense, staying on their feet, trying to get Clarion really exactly the way that we were. Really just thinking about last play.
High-octane football, baby.
Something that Gary Dunn implemented as head coach for this California team. So now Kier with a 3rd and 4, ball on the 22-yard line. 3 wide receivers to his right and 1 to his left. Passing situation now here for Michael Kier. Pass right over the middle of the field. I believe that is going to be Tyson Hill, and it will, as he got into the end zone against IUP last week, really showing some potential out of this young players.
Yeah, you love seeing that from Tyson Hill. Once he gets that ball, gets those feet working, making his way up the field, and now we have a 1st and goal, and California inches closer to getting in that end zone once again.
Tyson Hill is a redshirt freshman. Wonder, I don't remember seeing him last season. Maybe they had to burn burn his red shirt, being the fact that Jordan Dangeridge is out this season. As now Michael Kier is forced to take a timeout. Wanted to bark another play out, but he realized that the play clock was running down.
First charge.
Gary Dunn doesn't really seem to mind, as normally Gary Dunn likes to just conserve all of his timeouts later on. But Steve, we're gonna look at some Twitter. You're a Twitter bug. You like to use some Twitter at CUTV_PA.
And pick up your prize.
Yeah, give us a follow. That's where we put all of our links out there. I said this all the time. It's like our middleman. That's where we put our links. Gives you the opportunity to click on everything that we do. Sometimes we're live on Periscope. Sometimes you'll see Dylan Godet go around for the parent tailgate. They travel everywhere that California travels. So a lot of content that we put on Twitter. It gives you. But the main thing is we give you all the links to our YouTube channel where you can watch us live. So it's great. Twitter is revolutionizing this world.
Yeah, we give you the good things, I guess you could say, on Twitter. And it's the first time that Dylan really hasn't been with us for now. It kind of seems like, he's kind of pushing us aside because, he's trying to win the crown, the homecoming
Trying to
king.
take home that crown.
Which I don't blame him. I think he has a good chance. How about you, Steve?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we all voted for him, so why not?
We did our part.
Yeah, it's all about him now. 8 minutes and 57 seconds left. First down. 1st and 10 at the 10. Michael Kier in that shotgun set. Drops back to throw. Stepping up in the pocket. Looks like he's just going to keep the ball and get into the end zone. We're going to see, and there is the sign that was a touchdown. Michael Kier rarely runs. We saw it last season quite a bit, but that looked like it was just a complete design run right up the middle for the quarterback.
And when Kier goes on the ground, you rarely see it. You got to fear the Kier when he goes on the ground. And he was hit hard, as you kind of made a face there, Dan. He was hit hard, but he bounced right back up, doing anything he can for this team. He found a hole and he made his way into the end zone.
Kind of seemed like Quinlan Lambert was just right in his way, and Kier just ran him right over, as that kick is more of a traditional kick that we see for an extra point, and it splits the uprights, making the score 14-0 in favor of California, getting some points on the board in 2 consecutive drives. We're going to see what happens right next on here on CUTV.
Dylan, what's wrong, man? I just don't know how my family back home in Buchanan, West Virginia can watch our stuff up here.
They can follow us on Twitter, or they can like us on Facebook.
That's awesome. What about our sports? How can they watch that?
They could watch it live right on our YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hello and welcome back into Adamson Stadium, as Michael Kier threw one and ran into the end zone, making the score 14-0 in favor of the Vulcans here on homecoming, as Brazil's kick just a little bit short. You don't really see this out of Will Brazil, as he will be brought down. Almost looked like the ball might have popped out, but it did not. And Steve, as defense, you mentioned for California, it really has to step up, and today it kind of seems like they're stepping up on defense.
Yeah, and you know what? The offense setting up the defense very nice with the Michael Kier run, getting hit pretty hard. He bounces right back up, extending this lead to 14-0. So Michael Kier doing everything he can in this game.
talking up to his offensive coordinator. You can see him sitting on the bench right next to us. Might as well be talking to us out down there on the field as Clarion trots back out. Ball on the 23-yard line as Woolard, empty backfield, looking to throw, obviously, as now he steps up in the pocket, and he's going to be brought down. Great way of bringing Woolard down by his shoestrings there was number 94, Malik Akins.
Yeah, and just once California's defense crashes that pocket, you got to think on your feet if you're Woolard, and he did. He tried to run outside, but he was brought down with no gain.
And Malik Akins, a force, yet another force on this California team. He is a junior, so he will return next season for California. Evans moves to Woolard's left now and gets a give, goes right, switching back and forth all over the place before the Red Army of California is right there to stop him.
Yeah, and stopped him hard. He thought he had some room, but just like that, California's defense collapsed around him and just swallowed him whole. And they brought him down for a very, very small gain.
I believe they're going to mark it a gain of 1 or 2 on the play, making it 3rd and 9 on the 24-yard line. Woolard still out there with an empty backfield. 2 wide receivers to his left and 3 to his right. Another passing situation of 3rd and 9. And just an incomplete pass, but there's going to be a flag coming out. You said yup a little bit late. Did you see a little bit of pass interference out there?
I did. Just before I could get it out, they threw that flag. I think that's what we're going to see. A little defensive pass interference on Cal.
And it will be, as the referee's out there making a motion, that it will be pass interference on Cal.
Pass interference. Defense, number 29.
That's going to be on number 29.
Automatic. First down.
And right there, you saw him just get that arm in right before he was able to get that ball.
Correction. Number 21.
And that's going to be a call every day.
I was going to say it was a linebacker making that mistake, but that was Devontae Suber, and yet another linebacker out there on the outside, maybe a little bit of a speed matchup, and had to adjust by maybe grabbing him. As Woolard now has Evans in the backfield. Gives the ball over to Evans. Evans trying to make some space for himself and could not, as he maybe just gets back to the line of scrimmage there, Steve.
Yeah, just barely. I mean, this Clarion running game, it started off strong, but right now they're really struggling against this California defense. I think they finally figured out those fake runs, those options that they've been running. I think California really figured that out and is just stopping everything that's thrown at them.
So now Clarion has some decision making, or as a decision to make, rather, you could say, as now they have trips to Woolard's right. Kind of a stack formation. They're going to do a bit of a bubble screen, but they're going to give the ball into the middle over to Kyle Evans. And he could not pick up anything really on the play. They most kind of dragged the defense for California towards those trips on the right and then ran it right up the middle.
Giving that ball to Evans, giving him yet another shot, taking McGriff out. As you saw, Woolard was not happy with his running back on that play.
They're going to mark it a gain of 0, as it is still 3rd and 9. Ball on the 30-yard line. Woolard yet again, empty backfield. Gets the ball and looking to throw. An interception there for California, and Brennan Edwards stepping up and getting into the end zone. Defensive effort for California puts even more points on the board.
And just like that, this crowd is alive. California is alive after that interception, that pick 6. Brendan Edwards doing everything he can on defense, reading this play like a book, jumping that coverage and just getting that ball and going towards the end zone. And what a smooth, clean interception that was.
Yeah, and Brendan Edwards was a force last season for this California team. And this season, it kind of seems like he didn't really have that confidence that he had last year. But that'll boost your confidence, I'd say. As now Will Brazil back out there to kick this one through the uprights. And the kick is up, and it is good, making the score now 21-0 in favor of California. Defensive effort puts more points on the board, so stay tuned. We have some more Vulcan football right here on CUTV.
Do you want information on the 2017 Vulcan football team? Look no further than the Gary Dunn Show.
If I was really proud of our efforts, especially from our senior class that had been through a lot, and for those guys to walk out of here with the PSAC championship.
Coach looks back on last week's game and looks ahead to the upcoming opponent.
You know, we're really starting over and trying to build that foundation for the 2017 season.
Don't miss Vulcan highlights, PSAC standings, schedules, and much, much more.
Hello and welcome back into Adamson Stadium as that man right there on the screen, Brennan Edwards, put more points on the board for California. And I believe that's his first interception of the year, first pick six at least of the year for number 3. As California will kick this one away over to Clarion with 5 minutes and 51 seconds left before halftime. We'll receive this one in the end zone, so a touchback will give Clarion the ball yet again. And Steve, break this one down.
Yeah, you see Brennan Edwards read this pass. I mean, look at Woolard. He's eyeing up his wide receiver from the start of that play until Edwards intercepted it, just jumped that pass, picks it off right into his chest, and scores for that end zone.
And Brennan Edwards, that energetic guy out there for California, similar to Jimmy Wheeler. We always talk about how Jimmy Wheeler is always happy, always dancing, singing even. It's interesting when you're here pregame, you can see the real characters on this team. And Brennan Edwards, one of those guys that likes to bring some happiness to this California.
It's nice to have personality in the locker room.
Oh, without a doubt. As Clarion now trying to draw something up to answer back to California. And a good run right up the middle of the field for Clarion, making some space for himself. And that's number 30. Actually, no, excuse me, number 20. McGriff, and working right down the field. We were talking about this run game with the versatility, 2 different running backs coming into this game, and McGriff right there making his presence known.
And watch the shiftiness right here on number 2, Aaron Brown. Just picking up their longest play of this game so far with a huge run from McGriff.
As now Woolard still in that shotgun set. He's going to give it off to McGriff yet again, now working on the left side of the field, trying to push up the field and gets brought down.
McGriff showing his speed right now. I mean, he gets the ball yet again, making his way down that field. They're inching their way closer to that end zone. Now they're focusing on picking up this first down.
With 5 minutes left before halftime, they're just trying to put some points on the board. Going to the halftime break with their heads high, I guess you could say, as California, they didn't get started and then all of a sudden burst onto the screen as a pass just soars over the head of his intended receiver, Devin Clark.
Clark was open for that screen. Just over the head, just out of bounds. Unable to get that one, and Clarion might have to stick on the ground for the rest of the game.
So now Clarion has some, decisions to make as they're looking over to the coach. As play clock continues to run. Taking some time off, they like to score quick, if you will, and maybe allow them to score twice as McGriff looked like he couldn't really handle that ball, and there's going to be a flag coming out. Didn't see anything out of the ordinary, out of the sorts. This looks like it's going to be a chop block on Clarion, making the motion over to head coach Gary Dunn. Yeah, that's another play that you don't really see that often, or another call.
Personal foul, legal chop block, offense, number 53, number 20. Penalties declined.
So it's on 2 different players. We're going to see right here on the replay exactly where you can. And I Don't know if on number 53, which is who they called it on, but nonetheless, I guess they're going to just come right back to the line of scrimmage on 4th down. Kind of confusing everybody. Looks like there's a lineman either side, and Clarion has to call a timeout. Looked like there was 2 linemen on either side of Woolard, and maybe trying to draw up a trick play, if you will, just trying to pick up the first down, Steve.
You know, I wish I could tell you what was going on there, but I can tell you what's going on here with Dylan Godet sporting that very vibrant red sports jacket, looking slick.
Jeez Louise, yeah, I'd say he's looking slick. My heart's throbbing up here in the box. I'm looking at him. It's a new suit jacket. He was telling us that he went out last night, missed the high school game, but it's fine. We
obviously he had priorities.
Obviously, he's trying to be the homecoming king. But look at that corsage right there on his jacket. We can break that. We're style experts. We're football guys. We can do it all, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw him at the parade. He still had a tag on his sleeve, and he's waving to everybody, tossing candy out. You know, real crowd pleaser. Kids love him. And me and Ryan were up there telling him to look at his sleeve. We're pointing at our arms, and he's just looking at us like we have 2 heads. Then after the fact, he said, he was like, "Yeah, I had a tag on my sleeve still."
And that was on the big board too. We showed it up on there on the big board. They showed our feed as Clarion will punt this one away. Over to D'Angelo Mitchell. He'll get at the 10-yard line. Working up the field now, staying on his feet, shifting back and forth, and just got tripped up as there's 2 flags coming out there. But nice little speed there from D'Angelo Mitchell. We haven't seen him much this season.
Yeah, you know, when I see him with the ball, I think future. I see him playing a lot in the next coming years because of plays like that. When he breaks out into the field, he has some speed, and he could burn you just like that. And he showed some shiftiness as well, beating a couple Clarion players.
I like to see that out of Chad Livingston as well as D'Angelo Mitchell. Last season, I believe, was Chad Livingston's first year, or I guess freshman season. But just getting out there and doing whatever you can to help your team succeed is exactly what both of these teams are doing. See what the call on the field is, though.
During the return, legal block in the back. Receiving
block in the back on California. And we're going to see exactly what gave him a lot of space. We're going to see if we can see it in the frame. I believe it's going to be a little bit further just as he fell. I believe one of the guys for California pushed Clarion almost at him, but D'Angelo Mitchell evaded him, and that's California now backed up into their own territory at the 12-yard line. 4 minutes and 15 seconds left. Give right up the middle of the field for California, and Jimmy Wheeler staying on his feet. Almost looked like he was going to be brought down. I kind of went down like he was going to be brought down in the backfield, but nonetheless picks up a first down.
Yeah, you know, Jimmy Wheeler, he can be a threat as he makes his way through the middle. And like I said, when he gets that open field, he could make you pay with that speed. And just getting his arm wrapped up and brought down out of bounds, Jimmy Wheeler, he impresses with plays like that.
And faked out our camera people as well as they're kind of following the herd as Wheeler gets the call yet again on the outside, pushing up the middle of the field, or actually the left side of the field, and then gets brought down. But forward progress will get him out to just about the 32-yard line.
Yeah, and I've said this early in the broadcast. He doesn't have that size, but, I mean, boy, he could really chug along once he gets hit. Watch him just power through. I mean, 2 defenders there. I mean, he doesn't have the size, but, man, he has the heart, and he just bowled through 2 defenders before more support came for the tackle.
And Michael Keir still in that shotgun set. 2 guys either side of him, and Nathaniel Scott and Jimmy Wheeler. Wheeler will get the call yet again, 3 consecutive plays, and push up the middle of the field and pick up a first down.
Jimmy Wheeler's starting to get those feet moving. They look to him the past 3 plays, and he hasn't disappointed. Big thanks to that offensive line, giving them some space to run.
Yeah, that blocking, especially on the left side of the ball, that time allowed Jimmy Wheeler to just get up the field. Jalen Bell looking on the sideline, itching to get back into this game, trying to make his presence known. As here still Nathaniel Scott and Wheeler to either side. This time he's going to throw, though. Looking over to Luke Samori, kind of catches it and turns right away. Gets out to about the 50-yard line, and the ball comes out. It pops right out. As Clarion now working up the middle of the field. That was number 7, Sam Ferrari, who got that one, and that ball just popped right out. Steve, break down this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good pass. Luke Samori really developed this play. I mean, he's trying to go through a few people, and right there it just gets ripped out by number 29 of the Clarion defense, Quinlan Lambert. I mean, just ripped that ball with authority, sending it flying through the air. Clarion, they're back on offense now.
And I mentioned Quinlan Lambert a little bit before, maybe not even covering California's guys, but on that one he helped his guys out and gave the ball back to the Golden Eagles. As now with 2 minutes and 29 seconds left, Kyle Evans gets the give, pushes up the left side, and picks up about a gain of 1 on the play.
Evans making his way back in the game after you saw McGriff making a few big runs. One of the longest plays of this game and the longest play for Clarion with that big run. Now Evans getting the shot.
Now with just about 2 minutes left before halftime, Clarion looking to score, trying to answer back to California's 21-0 run. Evans switches sides, fakes the give, and then gets it over into the area of, I believe that is going to be Devin Clark yet again, but yet again, just over the head.
Overthrown, and that could be due to just not passing a lot in this game. Still trying to find your range. I mean, running that ball, only the 3rd pass for Clarion of the game. So you just got to find that range, and right now he doesn't have it.
And I mentioned before, since it is homecoming, quite a few players coming back for California. You can see right down there, Aaron Terry, the defensive back for California, is just giving his team some love, giving Brennan Edwards maybe some tips on what to do in the secondary. As now Woolard trying to draw California off sides and cannot. So he has to regroup and call a different play up. Get the ball and drop back in the pocket. Another quick pass over to Devin Clark, and right there was Lamont McFadder.
Yeah, I think the communication was just a bit off because the receiver just had no idea that ball was coming.
And the punting formation will come out for either of these two sides. D'Angelo Mitchell and Chad Livingston back there, 2 playmakers that are prone to making plays. You know, it's D'Angelo Mitchell on that last punt. Almost got out into some free space, although a flag halted that. The 1:42, California will get the ball back after this punt. Spiral punt over into the area of D'Angelo Mitchell, and the ball will go out, take a friendly bounce at, I believe, the 9-yard line. So California, if they're trying to score, they have to traverse the entire field to do exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. And Coach Gary Dunn loves to score before the end of the half, so he's going to try to draw something up on the offense. With only 2 timeouts left, you could very well do that, but you got to do it quick.
Yeah, and you mentioned Gary Dunn likes to score, and with 1:33 left, this is exactly the situation where he would like to take advantage. I told you about how Clarion wants to get on the board and get some confidence. California wants to keep this confidence levels up and get on the board yet again going into halftime. Keir out there with 2 wide receivers to his left. I believe Jalen Bell checked back in the run game as well. He will give it to Bell. Bell kind of couldn't make anything happen on that one. I believe they're going to mark it a loss of 1.
That's not the start you want if you want to score in the last minute or 2. Got to get that ball moving and see if California goes in the air.
Actually going to say there was no gain on the play. 1:10 left now. Taking a lot of time off this clock. You like to see that hurry-up offense for Gary Dunn. You know you can do it, and you know you could score quick, but just a matter of implementing that. Under a minute now. Here in the shotgun set. Fakes the give over to Bell, and then Nathaniel Scott will take it up right side of the field and pick up a first down, stopping the clock.
Scott with the reception.
That's a play you want. Get that.
That's
Get
good
your
for
get your
Vulcan.
boys up the
First
field,
down.
passing that ball, getting out of bounds, picking up the first down, getting those few yards really helps with about 45 seconds left in this first half.
Now with a few more wide receivers out there on the field, Chad Livingston checking in as well. 35 seconds left before halftime. Trying to get these plays off with 14 seconds left on the play clock. Here looking deep, goes deep, has Luke Samori. And good defense there from Clarion to break that pass up as it hits the turf.
Yeah, and he almost had Luke Samori. Luke Samori covered pretty well by that Clarion defender.
Second down.
Kier with a bomb on target for Samori. That California defender just gets right in front of him and knocks it away.
So California now 24 seconds left, and Clarion will actually call a timeout, trying to regroup, but California can use this to their advantage and really just get back on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Cal really itching to score with now last 24 seconds. But any other way? There's our CUTV Sports 1 YouTube page. That's where you can find all of our content. And we're actually live. If you're watching on YouTube right now. It's something that we implemented this season. Going live for almost every sports shoot that we do, pending the cell reception that we get and how the internet is. Sometimes the internet doesn't always work in our favor, but nonetheless, we're live now, and big thanks to YouTube for that.
Yeah, we got some tech people to help us out when it doesn't, and but we try to bring the best broadcast to you guys wherever you are watching. But yeah, we're live here today, so thank you for watching, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
24.3 seconds left before halftime. Ball on the 23-yard line. It's going to be a second down and 10. Three wide receivers to Kier's left, one to his right. Jalen Bell still out there on the field. It's going to be a design screen as Jalen Bell has some space up the field now to work with. Spin tries to get away from one guy and could not as he was brought down when now with 16.2 left. California takes another timeout, utilizing all their options out there on the field, Steve. And,
yep.
You know, California, they could score going into this break and get the ball back coming out of halftime. You know, you could see California run away with this one.
Yeah, you could see this one get out of hand if they can score. It'll be tough. 16 seconds left. We'll see what they draw up here. But, yeah, going into that second half, it's looking good for the Vulcans.
And once California kind of shook off the rust, I guess, on the game early on in the game, it seems like California has been on a roll. Their defense really helping them out. You mentioned Brendan Edwards getting that pick 6. And just putting more points on the board. That's all it is. That's what football is, getting points on the board. And Gary Dunn is trying to help his team out, as well as Michael Kier out there on the field. So Kier now with that same formation, 3 to the left, and 1 to the right. Jalen Bell in the backfield next to Kier. Kier taking his time. Drops back to throw, looking left. Evades one defender, has some open space in front of him. Gives it over to Chad Livingston, but there is a flag in the backfield. Might be seeing a holding in that area as Michael Kier was able to get out of the pocket. That happened already before early in this contest.
Yeah, and I think you will see a holding call on the Vulcans' offensive line, giving Michael Kier the opportunity to roll out and evade the defenders. That's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be on Eric Hudenick of California.
He's another freshman on this offensive line, just trying to help Michael Kier get out of the pocket and look downfield, although he wants to do it legally next time, as they're now just going to take a knee with 7 seconds left. They're in that formation, and he will, sending the score at 21-0. coming into the halftime break. And Steve, this California team, I mentioned it before, they're shaking off the rust, and now they're getting going. So we're going to see if they can keep that up in the second half, or if Clarion can answer back, as California will actually get the ball back. But nonetheless, we're going to take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we're going to have some more Vulcan football action right here on CUTV.
Save preset 1 for Cal U's best music. More music in the car, more music in the door, more music everywhere. This is 91.9 WCAL Power 92. The home of the Vulcan Nation. Playing Cal U's best music. 91.9 WCAL. WCAL Power 92.
Hotel chain. Ladies and gentlemen, with us today is Miss Mia Marie Zazak, who is a 2016 graduate of California University and was recently crowned Miss Mid-Mon Valley. Mia is now entering the Miss Pennsylvania USA pageant being held in this December in Pittsburgh. Let's give Mia a round of applause and wish her luck. Also at this time, on behalf of the students, faculty, staff, and administration of California University, I welcome you to Homecoming 2017 as we recognize our 2017 Homecoming Court. I hope this homecoming will bring back fond memories of our many students, guests, friends, and dignitaries who are with us here today. As part of the celebration, Cal U students have been campaigning for the title of Homecoming King and Queen. Many thanks to all of our Homecoming Court candidates this year. I will now announce our Homecoming Court. Miss Rudine Jackson, senior social work major from Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, active in the California University Band, Kappa Kappa Psi, STAND, a peer mentor, and a member of the Women's Center staff. Joe Fuco, senior secondary education major from Menneson, Pennsylvania, with a concentration in mathematics, active in the University Band and Kappa Kappa Psi. Michael Mertz, senior business management major from Langhorne, Pennsylvania, active in the Cal U Baseball Club, Sigma Tau Gamma, and the Student Activities Board. Ivy Jackson, senior elementary education, pre-K to 4 major from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, active in Young and Gifted Gospel Choir, Kappa Delta Pi, peer mentor, and the leader, career ambassador for the Career and Professional Development Center. Mari Boyle, senior political science major with a minor in philosophy from Greensburg, Pennsylvania, active in the Delta Zeta, Student Government Association, Cal Times, Panhellenic Council, and SAI Board of Directors. Cody Ambrose, junior public relations major from Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania, active in Sigma Tau Gamma, Student Government Association, and Student Cabinet, also member of the SAI Board of Directors. Megan Maturo, Senior, sociology major from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, active in cheerleading and National Society of Leadership and Success. Dylan Godet, junior, earth science major with a concentration in meteorology from Buchanan, West Virginia, active in a meteorology club, CUTV, College Republicans, Alpha Lambda Data, and a community assistant. Jordan Cunningham, senior athletic training major from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, active in the Athletic Training Club, Women's Club, Peer Mentor, and Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Corey Cottom, senior, education and human services, athletic training major from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, active in the Athletic Training Club and the Strength and Fitness Club. Joining President Jones on the field are the 2016 King, John Hershey, and co-queens, Sam Middlemiss and Lakaja Bynum. And now, please help me congratulate this year's homecoming king. Corey Cottom. And this year's homecoming queen, Mari Boyle. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the CalU Marching Band will perform the first three selections from our 2017 show, starting with Green Day's Holiday, moving to Can't Take My Eyes Off of You by the Four Seasons, and closing with Nights in White Satin by the Moody Blues.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's on.
Hi. I do not know. I do not know.
.330.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, 50-50. Get out your white tickets for the 50-50 drawing.
212.
A lot of people here today, so it should be a good one.
Hello and welcome back into Adamson Stadium after that halftime break. California's still up in this one, 21-0. And Steve, really, that was the defensive effort, collaborative with the offensive effort.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw a pick six there from Edwards, and Michael Keir getting the show started with a running touchdown and a pass to Luke Smorey. So offense and defense both lighting it up right now.
Yeah, most definitely is. And we're going to look at these halftime stats now. And California, 136 passing yards compared to Clarion's 17. They're just dominating them in that department.
Right.
And with 193 total yards, under 100 for Clarion as California just locking down.
Yeah, I mean, staying strong defensively. Those rushing yards, 67, it seems like it's been a lot more. But only holding them under 100, just that 67. But that 17 passing yards is really breathtaking because this California defense has been so good.
Yeah, they definitely have. In this game, at least. In the last game, actually against IUP and Slippery Rock, it kind of seemed like they were just in the wrong spots and the wrong times. That's really allowed the opposing team to really take advantage. And California just been locking down here today. Those penalties, though, for California, 5 penalties, accruing 40 yards. You really don't want that.
Right.
You really want to keep that up. You really want to see California play sound football. And they've pretty much been playing that type of football this entire season, playing smart and not really giving in to anything the other team is really pushing at them.
And obviously there's some things to clean up. There you see that perfect pass to Luke Smorey, showing his speed and his catching abilities. But there's some things that obviously you see that they need to clean up. But right now they're off to a great start. And you get those things, those little things tweaked, California could roll through this game.
Yeah, and now they get the ball right back in the second half, and that's something that has to bode well for the Vulcans, just due to the fact that their levels of confidence, they've been playing pretty well here today, back in the confines of their own stadium. I mentioned that they're 3-0. It might just be something about this field that they're comfortable with. You always like to do well at home in front of your own fans, and 1-2
especially
on the road.
on homecoming.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And the 2 losses that they had,
Yep.
both away with Slippery Rock and IUP. Tough places to play, as California haven't really won that often at Slippery Rock. But California will get this second half started with Jimmy Wheeler streaking up the right side of the field, and he'll be brought down just outside, I believe, the 23-yard line. But Steve,
Wheeler with the return.
I guess the dual threat of Jalen Bell and Jimmy Wheeler, it's been working here today, with Jimmy Wheeler seeing most of the starts, though.
Yeah, Jimmy Wheeler, he kind of started to heat up towards the end of that second quarter. You saw him getting some big runs and just getting his hands on the ball more and more often. But we'll see who comes out here. It's going to be Jalen Bell that comes out here, but Jimmy Wheeler so far having a pretty great game.
Yeah, it seems like Gary Dunn is just more comfortable with Jalen Bell. It kind of seems like he gets the starts, and then Jimmy Wheeler just really exhibits his speed, his ability to look down the field, and then Dunn gives him the nod. He comes in quite a few times and makes some plays for his team. California looking to throw, and their pass will be tipped at the line of scrimmage intended for Tom Green. And this Clarion defensive line now is really just, I guess, keeping their heads up. I guess you normally want to keep your heads down, but keeping their heads up and just being aware.
Yeah, getting that hand up as well, batting that ball away. That could have really benefited for Cal, but getting that hand up was so important to knock that away.
Now with a 2nd and 10, ball on the 24-yard line. 2 wide receivers to Kier's left and 1 to his right. Kier fakes the give over to Jalen Bell, then wide open in the middle of the field is Luke Smorey. Smorey staying on his feet, getting across the 40-yard line to the 42.
Luke Smorey just getting open, beating his defenders, getting that ball, and then going along with the rest of the play. It's so important that you have Luke Smorey on the field. That is one of Kier's favorite targets, and he's shown it throughout this game.
Yeah, one of the more reliable targets as well. Something interesting, I know we talked about it last season. Luke Smorey doesn't wear gloves. Actually, there's a flag on the field. I believe it's going to be a sideline warning on California.
Cal has been issued a sideline warning.
And it will be a sideline warning, and Gary Dunn is kind of just putting his hands up, kind of questioning that, but you always have to be aware of where you are on the field if you're a head coach, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
Make sure you're not standing on the white sideline. As now Kier gives the ball over to Jalen Bell. I was just about to start saying how Luke Smorey doesn't wear gloves.
Right.
And, wide receivers, normally they do.
Yeah, and that's just raw talent, him catching those footballs, catching those passes. Easily one of the best targets for Michael Kier, has been throughout this whole season.
Yeah, definitely one of the more reliable targets. Doesn't drop much, knock on wood when I say that. But, yeah, Luke Smorey, get him open in open space, and he'll make a play out of almost nothing. As Michael Kier still on that shotgun set. Guy to either side of Kier. Drops back and gives the ball over to Bell. Bell reverses field, trying to work up
Bell again,
the right way. I guess he was going east to west. He wants to move more north and south, and there is a flag on the play. See what this call is, and I believe it's going to be holding on California.
10-yard penalty.
On number 62. We never really see Taylor Nicketser making mistakes, and that one he was called on.
Yeah, that veteran player, that veteran center, is going to be another loss for this offense next season. But, yeah, you don't usually see that from Nicketser because he is very disciplined and he's a strong veteran player for the offensive line.
He's one of the more, the leader out there on the field, the senior from North Allegheny, another local guy. As Kier in that shotgun set, 2nd and 17 now, ball on the 35. Kier looks to throw, feeling the pressure, moving right, gets this one away in the area of Tom Green, but out of bounds. Tries to straighten that one out the next time.
And Kier, he felt that pressure on that one, forcing him to scramble out to his right. Clarion defender was on his tail right behind him, just tracking him down, forcing him to throw that ball out of bounds.
Now 3rd and 17, 12 minutes and 59 seconds left in the third quarter. Kier taking some time off this play clock, as now it reads 10. Drops back to throw, feeling the pressure yet again. Design screen. Jalen Bell has some open field in front of him and goes right into a blocker. Maybe not the right move on that one. As Steve, you saw exactly what I did. Over to the left side, there was just open field, reverses and goes right into a few defenders.
Yeah, look, he catches that ball. He has all this wide open space, decides to cut in. Not sure what he was thinking on that one. Brought down, bringing up 4th down.
California is still out there with Michael Kier to punt. back to receive is Dorian Johnson, I believe. Kier's punt is down at it's about the 30, and it was picked up by Clarion. And I don't think California was really expecting to see this. And now Michael Kier has to make a touchdown-saving effort, and he does. The quarterback can punt, and he can tackle. Sign him to your team.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a desperation tackle as well, jumping on the back, going for a little ride, bring him down out of bounds. But, yeah, just like you said, Danny, California not expecting that, not expecting Dorian Johnson to pick that ball up and run with it. And, boy, did Clarion pick up a lot of yards there. And you know what? Was that Dorian Johnson?
No, that was Bryson Craven. Kind of seemed like, when you're a special teams, especially on a punt, and the ball's coming right at you, you kind of run away from it.
Yeah.
And this time, Craven just took it, picked it up, and just trotted right down the field to just about the 10-yard line, where Michael Kier had to make a, as I mentioned, touchdown-saving effort. Setting up Clarion, kind of a weird turn of events, giving Clarion great field position. As now Woolard gives the ball off to his running back, pushes up right in the middle of the field.
Clark, the ball carrier.
He gave him about a gain of 1 on the play.
Yeah, this is probably the best opportunity for Clarion of the day so far. At about the 8-yard line. Inching their way closer to that end zone.
Now Woolard in the shotgun set. Gets the ball and gives it off to his running back yet again. That time, maybe a wrong decision. Woolard has some space in front of him. But that's why we're up in the booth, Steve. We're not, can't critique everything.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, I'll strap up. I'll go out there on the field, but see what plays I make, then you can break them down. So now with 11-11 left in the third quarter. Have to say that's a lucky number.
Make a wish.
Yeah, 3rd and 7, or 3rd and goal from the 7, rather. Woolard fakes the give and pushes it right over to his intended receiver, and that was, I want to say 30, actually no.
85.
85.
Philip Harding. That's for Cal U.
I believe that was Dervon Holton.
Goal from the 1.
So that's going to be 4th and goal from the 1, and offensive coordinator Stephen Ruffing, you're going to run this one.
Absolutely.
It's an obvious situation.
Yeah.
You like to think that, but we could also see a Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl against the Patriots, and might drop back and throw it.
The big game.
Yeah, a lot of you might see in this situation too a slant. Slants are popular here. As Clarion pushes up, and actually Woolard's going to keep it. They're going to say he did not get it. And I don't know if he maybe extended, and you're talking about the energy that Brennan Edwards brings to this team. And also we mentioned Jimmy Wheeler. Well, both of them were freaking out after that one. And I don't know, Steve, we're going to take a look at this replay, see if we can see any extension of the ball.
I don't think there
across
was.
the goal line.
No, he put his head down, just tucked that ball away. Ball security is job security, and you saw that there, not extending that ball, because that could have been trouble if he did. But yeah, California stopping them big time on that play.
Yeah, you better coin that phrase, ball security is job security. When somebody gets that could blow up. As now California takes over from the 1-yard line. Backed up. They didn't allow a touchdown, but now they're trying to prevent a safety being back in their own end zone. Now tossed over the head of Tom Green. And that's something that we don't really see just due to the fact that Tom Green can really move to the ball.
Yeah.
He can find the ball in the air.
He elevates himself big time, and I think he took just one step in that he didn't need, and that forced that ball to go over his head.
Something also to mention, I believe that is Taylor Nickitzer sitting on the bench. So made a mistake, and now he's not out there on the field for California. Hopefully he's okay. I didn't see if he was injured. So now Kier gives the ball off in the middle of the field and brought down. They're not going to say that it was a safety as he got out across the goal line.
Payne on the stop. No gain on the play, 3rd down.
Excuse me. 9 minutes and 45 seconds left in the third quarter of play. Here in that shotgun set. Now just taking some time off this clock as well as the play clock, under 10 seconds now.
Looked like they tried to draw the defense offside, try to get them to jump, but it didn't work. Now they're going to change that play up.
Facing a 3rd and 10. Throwing yet again over to Tom Green, giving himself some space to work with. And almost looked like he got away from his defender and then was brought down. So the punt team is forced to come out for California.
And depending on what Keir does on this punt, it's looking like that Clarion's going to have some pretty decent field position to work with. But like I said, that's all depending on what Michael Keir does with this punt, because he can surprise us.
As Dorian Johnson sits at just about the 45-yard line. See now as Keir corrals this ball and kicks it out to just about the 40, where Dorian Johnson is there and called a fair catch. Looked like Johnson called the fair catch and then almost forgot that he called the fair catch, as he was kind of angry that he did exactly that.
I think he wanted that one back because he really did want to run with that one.
So we're going to take a look at our CalU Vulcans, the calvulcans.com, the athletics website. They give us all of our statistics to really work with. Gives us a few game recaps. I can't thank everybody in the sports information department, Matt Kiefer, everybody there helping us out. As now we're going to see Clarion out there on the field and a new quarterback out there for the Golden Eagles. And Kyle Evans is going to push right up the left side of the field. And some extracurriculars, most definitely, as flags come out. It's a lineman and Brennan Edwards. Jeff Clemens, the new sub in at quarterback.
You could tell that frustration's really setting in for Clarion.
We're going to see what Brennan Edwards gets called on, or maybe for Clarion. It's number 53, Zach Morris, a junior.
Shout out Saved by the Bell. Zach Morris.
I haven't watched. I haven't.
Just one for the boys back home.
We're going to see now, obviously.
After the play was over. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense, number 3. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
So it will be offsetting
on the offense, number 53.
penalties.
Those fouls offset both players. That's their first unsportsmanlike conduct foul.
So now both players, that's only their first unsportsmanlike conduct. But even though nothing happened out of that, I mean, Steve, you got to think now 3 and 53 are really just going to be like, I have your number at this point.
And, you know, it's very rare that those two players would even come in contact with each other. Surprised to see how that even played.
Because Zach Morris may have ran out on the outside to try to get Kyle Evans, give him blocking, as Kyle Evans on pretty much the same exact play. And now it seems like at this point the referees are just going to have to expect that there's going to be some extracurricular talking, as Evans was just pushed right into the sideline of California, and there was a little bit of talking after.
Of course.
Getting back quick to the line of scrimmage, though, is the Golden Eagles. Evans, the same exact play. Clemens not really allowed to get started. And I believe that will bring up a first down. See if they move the chains. And they will. It's interesting that they pulled out Asante Woolard, too.
First and 10 Clarion from the 27.
No, I didn't see him really. He didn't look injured or anything like that. I can't.
I see him standing on the sideline.
Just going to say I couldn't see him standing on the sideline, but oh, there he is. He's out his helmet, too.
Yeah.
So now Clemens, empty backfield, steps back in the pocket, looks to throw, finds his intended receiver on the outside, and I believe that was Luke Rapchak right there to bring him down. That was number 83, Mason Standard.
Yeah, Rapchak wraps him up on that one and just refuses to let him get that first down. He grabs him, and just look at that force that he uses to bring the player down.
Getting back to the line of scrimmage yet again. Might be a new play style we're going to see out of Clarion with Jeff Clemens out there. Two guys to Clemens' right and three to his left. Clemens looks over the middle of the field, and right there to gobble him up was number 21, Devontae Suber. I was making sure I got the number right. Didn't want to say 29.
Yeah, big stop right there. Still got that first down, but there could have been more after the catch, but Suber was right there to stop him from getting anywhere.
Clemens is just barking the plays out pretty quick, something that maybe take California off guard. Gives it over to Evans yet again. Evans trying to make some space up the field. Gets stopped at the line of scrimmage and then pushes over to the left side where he finds some space. And he'll get inside the 10-yard line, giving them yet another first down.
Yeah, and that was a good job just to switch up his plan. Saw that there was nothing up the middle, found space toward the left side, and then just gets shoved out of bounds.
Excuse me, that'll actually bring up a 2nd and 10. From our angle, I'm kind of having to dodge some poles and couldn't see exactly where he was. Nonetheless, ball at the 7-yard line now. Clemens in the shotgun set. Has McGriff to his right. Gives it off to McGriff, and McGriff finds Pater getting into the end zone for the Golden Eagles.
That was a great run, McGriff, and you'd have to think that that was coming. McGriff having a heck of a game so far tonight. Found his space in the middle of the field, and then just jumps into the end zone, celebrating their first touchdown of this game.
And answering right back to California. I mentioned before that California was on a 21-0 run, and stopped that run just like that with a run up the middle.
Metzger to attempt the extra point.
Number 61 out there, James Metzger, guy we haven't really seen much. Kick is up, and it is good, making the score now 21-7. Clarion answering back to California. We're going to see if California can do exactly that after the break.
Live Vulcan football all season long on CUTV Sports 1, your home for California Vulcans football.
Hello and welcome back into Adamson Stadium as Clarion gets on the board now with a Malik McGriff touchdown right up the middle of the field, and answering back now, making the score 21-7. 6 minutes and 3 seconds left in the third quarter of play. And Steve, this run game for Clarion, we mentioned it before, this attack with putting some different guys in there, it worked out on that one.
Yeah, of course. You know, McGriff, he had a pretty good first half, and he starts the second half off with a huge touchdown for Clarion.
Jimmy Wheeler yet again to receive this kickoff. Wheeler has some space in front of him, stiff arms one guy, gets out to just about the 45-yard line. They're actually going to mark him down at the 42. But Jimmy Wheeler just exhibiting his speed out there. We don't really see him on kickoffs, but he might have to next in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, he just gets that ball, and then he is away. I mean, just cutting through that defense, just disrespecting a Clarion defender with that stiff arm, and then making his way up the sideline. He could have had more, but knocked out of bounds. Just a great run.
And stepping back out onto the field is Jimmy Wheeler. So that shotgun set. Wheeler gets the nod, finds a hole, moving up field, just short of the 50-yard line. Mark him down at the 47. See right here on this replay, going around the outside, finding that hole like I mentioned, and then Clarion just swarming on the inside and just bringing him down.
Yeah, I mean, you see Jimmy Wheeler starting to heat up, just like McGriff. It's a running battle right now between the two teams.
2 wide receivers for Kier to his left, 1 to his right. And it looks like Luke Smorey just got the nod, kind of a hot route, if you will. Giving it over to Luke Smorey, and see where they mark him. I believe he's going to be right down at the first down marker. And they will move the chains a yard ahead, and there is an injured Golden Eagle out there on the field. But nonetheless, that little hot route for California maybe worked in the favor. As now we're going to see if California can keep this up on this possession, answer right back to Clarion's touchdown the last drive. But now we're going to look at the California schedule. It's really just the road how they got here with a win starting off against Ohio Dominican, Cheney, Millersville, and then starting PSAC conference play with Seton Hill, 44-41, and then back-to-back games against Slippery Rock and IUP. Tough games in which both of those two teams up at the top really leading in the national polls and just trying to do anything they possibly can to keep this up. But Steve, this Clarion team, you can't overlook them. I mean, last week taking on a Seton Hill team, and as you can see right there, Seton Hill gave California a run for their money, and Clarion gave them a run for their money and came out on the win column.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Clarion team, they're pretty unpredictable. We've seen a lot of positives from them. I mean, beating Seton Hill was a huge motivator coming off that 5-game losing streak.
Most definitely was, and now trying to continue that. We're going to look at the Clarion schedule, and I mentioned the Seton Hill victory, 33-28, and then all behind that, see a bunch of L's. And against Edinboro, Mercyhurst, 2 teams that California has to play later on in the season. So we're going to, just take a look into the crystal ball, I guess you could say, 45-10, and we're going to see now at IUP is up 10 points now over Slippery Rock. I believe that would that would shake everything up a little bit. I really would have expected that. Slippery Rock is a fast team. They really took advantage of California's mistakes, though.
Yeah, they did. I mean, that's a great game between Slippery Rock and IUP. But, yeah, they're fast. They're unpredictable. They throw a lot at you, whether it's on the ground or in the air. They're really, really tough to play against, especially in Indiana.
I was just going to say, in Indiana, it's one of those places that the stadium isn't that big. It's not even like the atmosphere is overpowering. It just seems like the students there, they come out in droves for their team without a doubt, and they try to do anything they possibly can to cheer on their squads. Pretty much similar to how California is this entire season, and that could be due in part to head coach Gary Dunn, as you see right there on your screen. And there actually is a cart now coming out on the field. So our thoughts go out to the player on the field. Hopefully he's okay. But I mentioned that, this team, this, I guess, community for California really is – they're coming out now. Before you never really saw many people coming out to the games. And head coach Gary Dunn just gets everybody involved. Loves the band, everybody.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you see at the end of the games after a win, the team celebrates with the band. And that was one of Coach Gary Dunn's goals coming into this team for his first year coaching. He wanted to get involved with the community. He wanted to get the football team involved with all the clubs and organizations on campus, and he's done a great job with that.
Yeah, he's done exactly that. And Steve and I were both here for the Coach Keller era, only for one season, but it just looks like a completely different team. It looks like a different level of support for the team as the Clarion player is now being carted off. Applause from the fans and both squads. Is number 57, Alec Heldereth, offensive lineman. He's a junior from Canfield, Ohio. But Steve, so now California have the ball. They're trying to work down the field and try to do anything they possibly can. The last pass, I guess you could say, over to Luke Smorey kind of looked like it was one of those, I guess, the play calls that you like to see California trying to draw the offsides from the other team and then go deep down the field. That's why I said it would be expecting a hot route, but it wasn't. It was kind of a hitch and allowed them to pick up a first down.
Yeah, I mean, Luke Smorey's just so trustworthy, and you could get that ball to him, and he's going to make something happen, as he did, picking up that first down.
5 minutes and 10 seconds left in the third quarter of play. California has the ball. I mentioned fresh downs on the 46-yard line. And that shotgun set. He's going to give it off to Jimmy Wheeler. Jimmy Wheeler met at the line of scrimmage.
Wheeler,
He caught about a gain of 1 on the play.
Yeah, Jimmy Wheeler just couldn't get anything out of that one.
As
soon as the ball hit his hands, he was swarmed by a few Golden Eagles and brought down just before the line of scrimmage.
Now 2nd and 9 on the 45. Kier fakes the give, gives it over to Luke Smorey. Luke Smorey adjusts and makes the catch, trying to push forward and gets back to the line of scrimmage yet again, kind of going backwards and then trying to just get as many positive yards he possibly could.
Yeah, you know, he tries to do as much as possible. There's called no gain on that play. He catches that ball, tries his best to get forward, but not before being swarmed by 4 Clarion defenders.
We're going to see an empty backfield for Michael Kier. Jalen Bell out there with Luke Smorey, Chad Livingston, Tyson Hill, and Tom Green. 3 minutes and 45 seconds left before the fourth quarter begins. Kier drops back to throw, feeling the pressure, gives it over to Luke Smorey, and he will pick up the first down, moving the chains yet again.
Reception, that's good for Vulcan. First down.
And you know what? I mean, just looking at this play, look at that spin the Clarion defender puts on the lineman, almost getting to Kier, but luckily Smorey was there to make that catch and get up the field for the first down.
That's something that Michael Kier, I wouldn't say doesn't exhibit all the time, but the pressure, having awareness out there on the field, sometimes he expects his offensive line to be there, and when they're not there, the ensuing defender gets to him. I know that happened at IUP, a strip fumble, or a strip sack, excuse me, that gave IUP some more confidence, but just having that awareness out there on the field is a valuable trait, as Jimmy Wheeler gets pushed out just about the 30-yard line. Mark him down at the 29 for about a gain of 3.
Yeah, Jimmy Wheeler finds himself open on that play. Michael Kier had no choice but to just give that ball off to him, picks a few yards up, give him 2. It'll be second down.
So now Kier, 2 guys to either side, Nathaniel Scott and Jalen Bell. Trying to draw Clarion off sides, and both teams, it's always funny. It kind of seems like after they try to do that, both teams kind of just like sit back in their stance and just relax a little bit more. Yeah, as a little bit of a slant route over to Tom Green, evades 1 defender and will not get to the first down marker, marking about 3 yards short.
Stop by Hauser.
Tom Green only getting his hands on the ball once or twice this game. Makes a nice move, and if he would have had awareness of what was behind him, could have made a little move to spin around and switch up the field, and could have possibly got some room.
So now Kier faces a 3rd and 4, ball on the 27-yard line. Under 2 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Taking some time off this clock is Kier. So now he drops back, looking to throw over to Luke Smorey. And I mentioned that he's one of those reliable targets that doesn't drop much. This time, the ball hits the turf after some good defense from Clarion.
Yeah, that Clarion man was all over him and more, knocking that ball away and taking Smorey to the ground.
Now we're going to see the field goal unit coming out on the field for California. Just trying to put some more points on the board. There is some wind out there, moving right to left. See that on the flags on the field goal. Smorey, the holder. Kick is up. It's a low kick.
I think that was blocked, Danny.
It is no good. It might have been. It came out a little bit odd. But Will Brazil misses a kick, and we haven't really seen that much either. But now we're going to take a look at this replay, kind of see if it was blocked at the line of scrimmage. It looked like it was. It did kind of take a weird trajectory, excuse me, get that word out.
Yeah.
But
Congratulations to Dr.
Only second missed field goal of the season, uncharacteristic of the veteran kicker.
Yeah, he's shaking his head about that one. It was a low kick. It looked like someone got a hand on it. It almost looked like it was going to be a line drive and just bounced off a hand. I couldn't really tell. It's unfortunate because Will Brazil, he can and he has nailed field goals from that far out.
So now McGriff gets the nod. Clemens still out there for Clarion.
McGriff, the ball carrier.
Working out the field, about a gain of 5 on the play.
And McGriff, he's the man with the lone touchdown for Clarion.
Gain of 5, second
You'll
down.
see that ball in his hands a lot more in the second half.
And Clemens out there on the field too. I mentioned that before, but you know, he hasn't. I don't know what's going on with Santi Woolard. He was doing pretty well for his team. Couldn't really move the ball, but trying to help out anyway he can. McGriff reverses field, has some space in front of him, and then looks like he tripped over his own foot.
McGriff again, the ball carrier.
It's about a 2 yards short of the first down sticks.
Yeah, McGriff
Third down
couldn't
and
find
1.
much there. Switches it up, goes to his right. Sees some space before being brought down for a third down.
About 30 seconds left before the fourth quarter. It's going to be a 3rd and 1. Under 10 seconds left now on the play clock. Clemens comes to the line of scrimmage, calling up a different play. Gives it off to McGriff. This time working on the outside, finds some space for himself. California trying there to trip him up. Could not, as Lamont McFadder comes through and tries to push him out of bounds, and he does with 3.5 left on the play clock.
Tell you what, McGriff, he's heating up now. He slips a tackle there impressively, makes his way down the line. Rapchek did whatever he could to stop him at the 40, but he makes his way up to the 23.
And that is how the fourth quarter will begin, with a score of 21-7. As Clarion gets started on this drive, we're going to see if they can answer back to California's play thus far. Stay tuned, we have some more Vulcan football right here on CUTV.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Live Vulcan football all season long on CUTV Sports 1, your home for California Vulcans football.
Hello and welcome back into Adamson Stadium for the start of the fourth quarter, as California is up 21-7. And Steve, we mentioned it before that Malik McGriff is getting started now, and California is just trying to answer back, trying to halt his progress from moving down the field.
Yeah, as this game is winding down to the last quarter, McGriff is definitely just getting started with a couple big runs. He has that lone Clarion touchdown, and if they could find their way into the end zone to start off this fourth quarter, I'll tell you what, we'll have a pretty exciting finish to this game.
Clarion is definitely hungry to score as McGriff is getting started. You can hear the band in the background to hear the band get involved, and Jimmy Wheeler's dancing, of course, to the band as Clemens looks to run and then throw it, and almost an interception there from Lamont McFadder. He knows he could have, as there is a flag called. This is in the area of pass interference. We're going to see what the call is on the field, though.
And we'll see. It's a nice little play fake there. Just watch right there. McFadder almost kicked that ball, had a chance to catch the ball while on the ground. Boy, would that have been an exciting interception. We'll see. Yep.
Defense.
Pass interference on the
7,
defense.
15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And it's going to be on Lamont McFadder, too. And we were mentioning that Malik McGriff is heating up. And that's 101 yards rushing now for the game. More than the entire team of California today. So now that pass interference gives Clarion a fresh set of downs and a 1st and goal from the 8. On the outside, rushing is number 22, Scott Florence, trying to find some space for himself and really just copy what Malik McGriff was doing.
Absolutely. Just making his way over to that left side, getting away from a few Vulcans, and then
from the 7.
hammered at the end of the play by Justin Baker.
That was 2nd and goal from the 7-yard line. Only 20 seconds have elapsed on the game clock. Find out a different play at the line of scrimmage is Jeff Clemens. And Clarion looks like they're going to be forced to take a timeout. So they talk this one over, Steve. But this run game for California, or excuse me, for Clarion, is just getting started. It's getting their feet underneath them, if you will. Something that California really has to lock down on.
Yeah, and you got to control that running game because McGriff right now is just on fire, making his way, shredding the defense. And he's looking for his 2nd touchdown of the game, and he's coming very, very close.
And I mentioned that the secondary for this California team really had to lock down, but it seems like the secondary is the strong point here today, not allowing very many long passing plays to go through. It seems like the interior of this defense is kind of getting exploited at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and you haven't even really seen Clarion throw the ball, which is surprising. Sticking with the running game, but if you're sticking with what's working, and that running game is working right now.
Some statistics that we just got from our sports information department. They only have netted just about 35 yards passing through the air. Their longest was an 11-yard pass and a 7-yard pass. So you're exactly right when you say that. They really haven't gotten any playing time or any time to shine. Only about 13 attempts through the air as well. As Clemens now looking to throw in the middle of the field. Good defense there from Lamont McFadder, knowing where he was out there on the field and just locking down against the guardian of the goal line.
Yeah, he definitely shut down that one real fast. And he comes in as the play developed. He'll come in, he'll read that pass, and just breaks it up cleanly. Right there, it gets a hand on it. And just great goal line coverage.
Kind of that late, or not a late hit, but just a hit from behind that really broke that pass up. Now 3rd and goal at the 7. Clemens still in that shotgun set. One guy in motion for the Golden Eagles. Clemens looks to throw yet again. It was tipped up in the air as it falls incomplete. And now, Steve, you know what happened before that Clarion tried to go for it on 4th down and it didn't go through. But now at this point, would you stay out there? Would you try to go for points? It looks like they're going to.
Yeah, it's a tough one because at what point do you just settle for the field goal because there's still 14 minutes left on the clock?
They're just looking to roll the dice at this point, trying to get on the board yet again. I mentioned there's 14 minutes left, but it seems like this is a promising drive for this Clarion team. Still in that shotgun set. Drops back to throw. Floats it wide over, or excuse me, way over receiver's head as it looked like he fell on that one. So that's 2 stands. That's 2 4th down conversions that have not gone through for the Golden Eagles. So there was some pressure in the pocket, but just right over the heads of everybody out there on the field.
And it might be a reason why we haven't seen much of the passing game.
And there's our WCAL correspondent, if you will, for the radio side of things. And Dylan Godet was supposed to join Anthony D'Agostino on the call, but looks like since he didn't win, he's sitting there with his parents. I don't know. He's taking it easy.
Like crying in the bathroom.
Yeah, maybe he is. I don't want to roast him on air, but maybe he is. Why not? As now, I think he thinks the parade is going back around, so he's probably back on the parade route. That's probably why. As Jalen Bow now gets it for California, trying to make some space upfield. Cannot, as Clarion was right there.
Bell trying to make his way through that Clarion defense. Doesn't get an opportunity to do so. Just running right into the line and being brought down.
Yeah, the sun is going to come into play. I know it's coming into play with us up in the booth. It's right on our backs. It's beating down on us. The first half, I was in the sun. Now the second half, Steve is really just
dying over
being burned. I mean,
yeah, and they say broadcast.
Take advantage of this. Take advantage of this. Get a little bit of a tan.
Yeah, say broadcasting isn't a contact sport. But I mean, we're dealing with adversity over here.
As Luke Smore on the outside gets the ball on a little bit of a almost a screen. It looked like a screen, but picking up some space in the passing game. See right here, Keir just turns and throws right away. Chad Livingston looks like was supposed to block, or maybe came in on a little bit of a slant route. There was 4 ensuing defenders for Clarion that they just swarmed onto Smorey. Almost drew an offsides from number 91, Brandon Voco. Pulls back the junior. Now Keir still in that shotgun set, 12 minutes and 40 seconds left before the end of this contest. Keir looks over in the area of Jalen Bell, has some space in front of him, and gets pushed out by Clarion.
Bell with the reception.
Jalen Bell
good for a Vulcan. First down.
Working on the ground and in the air, catching that one. Michael Keir looks to his right, has him as an option. He catches that ball, makes his way down the sideline. Great way to get past those defenders, pick up the first down, and just roll out of bounds.
Now we're going to see what California does as they have a fresh set of downs. Ball on the 26-yard line. 6 seconds left in the play clock as Keir gets the ball. Steps up in the pocket. Looked like he was going to go deep. And then looks at Luke Smorey. And it seems like on the opposite side of the field, Tom Green, his matchup against number 35, Miles Edmonds, a 5'10 guy going up against Tom Green is 6'4". You'd think that would be a matchup nightmare
right.
for the defense, but he's locking him down pretty much all day.
Yeah.
So now Keir gets back into that shotgun formation. 2 guys to Keir's left and 1 to the right. Looks to give to Jalen Bell and does. Picks up about a gain of 7 on the play. Give him back. Actually, give him 8 on that.
Stop by
Jalen Bell making a nice little move in the beginning of the play. Kind of sidestep and find his way through that defense. Dive forward.
3rd down and 2.
2 yards until that first down.
.11 minutes and 35 seconds left. Keir trying to draw Clarion off sides, and he cannot. So that same formation they've been working with all day. 3rd and 2. Drops back to throw. Looks over to Jalen Bell. Kind of looked like he was more looking upfield before he really could even bring that ball in.
4th down.
Yeah, Michael Keir sees Bell. Looks like that's who he wanted to go to the whole time. A little too high for Bell, jumps up and just off the fingertips and out of bounds.
Now California is forced to punt yet again. Dorian Johnson still back for Clarion. This ball is away, kind of a end over end. This Johnson is caught at just about the 38-yard line. Actually, no, the 28-yard line, excuse me. And that time it was evident that Dorian Johnson wanted to take a fair catch. But nonetheless, now we're going to take a look at next week's high school football matchup. Newcastle at Ringgold, a team that I haven't seen in my years here. Newcastle, unfortunately, I'm going to be going back home to see a different football game. The Giants take on the Seahawks. But you're probably going to be on the call for that one, Steve, I'd assume.
We'll see. See as the time goes on. Maybe you'll hear my voice. Maybe you won't, but it's looking to be a pretty decent game. Malik Hooker, a notable alumni from Newcastle.
so a playoff rematch from last year in the Whippeals. As a wide open receiver for Jeff Clemens. You can hear somebody in the crowd mic saying, get him. They want to gobble him up, and California does. A little bit late, though, as Devon Holton picked up the first down.
Clarion from the 43.
Yeah, Devon Holton is making California pay, getting open in that middle of the field, picking up the first down and more, fighting and scrapping his way to pick up a few more yards after the contact.
Might ask Dylan to be kind of a stands correspondent. I know we did that before. Maybe he'll pick up the crowd mic and see what he can do, as Clemens working down the field. Kind of not a designed run, but Clemens just bouncing off of everybody, stiff-arming Brennan Edwards. Kind of confusing at that point why California couldn't bring down Jeff Clemens, big body, 6'3", 215 quarterback.
Yeah, Clemens, a big body, but there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get him. I mean, 1 missed tackle, 2. Right there is when you should have really brought him down, slips 3 players, and then at that point, you just got to wrap him up. Putting a shoulder into him isn't enough. You got to get those arms around him and drag him down.
And Brendan Edwards stepping up yet again, this time bringing Clemens down, preventing a touchdown. Just now with just about 10 minutes left in this contest. Clemens gives the ball over to McGriff. McGriff was met at the line of scrimmage, but Luke Rapchak could not bring him in.
McGriff, the ball carrier.
Getting out to just about the 30-yard line.
Suber coming up with another big tackle as McGriff slips away from Rapchak, but Suber's there to grab him by the waist and bring him down.
This defense pretty much led by Luke Rapchak. Devontae Suber normally could say Vondell Bell. He's out, though, with an undisclosed injury. But this defense has definitely stepped up with Lamont McFadder this season, just doing anything he possibly can to help his squad. As Clemens gives the ball off yet again up the middle.
McGriff again, the ball carrier.
Yet again in the crowd mic, our third correspondent.
Yep.
As you could say, the stands correspondent. I was mentioning Dylan Godet before, but he's giving us a little bit of an inside look.
And right now we'll go to the crowd mic lady for her sideline report.
I'm sure if we timed this perfectly, we probably could get a sideline report. Now with under 9 minutes left to go. Clemens in that shotgun gives it to McGriff. A little bit of an option play, something they were doing in the first half. And they're going to pick up the first down on that one, getting across the 20-yard line.
Yeah, McGriff picking up those dirty yards. Going through that California defense. Just fast feet, keeping them rolling. Finally being brought down, dragged down by Luke Rapchak.
Now with 8 minutes and 20 seconds left. Ball on the 19-yard line. Clemens looks back to throw. And our third correspondent knows that California needs to get him down. Clemens just evading everybody, evading tacklers out there on the field. Head coach Gary Dunn is just yelling at his team right now. Clearly frustrated with all the tackling out there on the field, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, you got to wrap them up because they don't have an answer for Jeff Clemens' runs right now.
It's 2 consecutive runs, or actually not 2 consecutive, but 2 runs that Jeff Clemens just made some space for himself and evading tacklers. California gobbles him up right there, almost at the line of scrimmage. Second and goal at the 8.
California, so far in this game, their goal line defense has been pretty shut down. I mean, as you can tell, with that score, 21-7, holding them to only 1 touchdown. But, yeah, this California goal line defense has been pretty solid. They've stopped them a few times as they were extremely close of scoring.
And now a timeout on the field called by California. And, Steve, you mentioned it before that this defense for California, it seems like they tighten up here in the red zone, not really allowing Clarion to score. That's 2 4th-down conversions that were both failed from Clarion. And now at this point, you got to think, just score.
Yeah.
You know, you're at that point. You're at that in that area of the field. You might as well score. But we're going to look at our upcoming broadcasts. We have, obviously, we mentioned Newcastle and Ringgold. And then next weekend, California takes on Gannon in Erie. It's always my favorite place to go. I love Erie. Everything about it. Tim Hortons. I almost said Tom Hortons. Tim Hortons. Just everything about Erie. I like the snow, all that. But and then Washington at Beth Center. And I'll be back for that one. That game, I think I always love going to Beth Center too. It's just one of those unique places to go. But Washington, pretty tough team.
Oh yeah, they've been a top dog for quite some time. But that California and Gannon game at Gannon, it's going to be a tough one for the Vulcans, and I think they're going to be tested yet again in this season, going up to Erie and playing against the Gannon team.
And we were talking before about like just the atmosphere of stadiums in the PSAC, and Gannon is one of those unique ones just due to the fact that it's situated right in the city. It's kind of I guess it's outside of the city, but it's still just one of those places. It's a great place to call a game.
Yeah, I love it up in Erie.
Last time you almost fell out of the press box. As now Clemens staying on his feet, and now California comes in with Cameron Tarver, and the play is called dead as California was not letting Clemens get out of the pocket that time.
And I don't know, I think they're lucky that play got called dead because Clemens was a split second away from breaking that Cameron Tarver tackle. You see Tarver comes in right there, tries to wrap him up, and just like that, it just slips right out of his arms.
And there was a few other defenders there for California that were trying to come in and help out the effort, but looks like it was a little bit too late, as you mentioned, Steve. Clemens kind of just slipped out of that one. Now with 3rd and goal from the 14. Clemens pressured yet again, and a big sack there from California. And Justin Baker from the left side this time of the line of scrimmage. Normally lines up on the right, but comes in and brings down Clemens.
Yeah, Clemens, he couldn't get away from this one as that pocket collapsed. Had no idea to see him even coming. Justin Baker coming up with a huge play there, sacking the quarterback.
It looks like they're a little bit of a switch up out there for Clarion. Dorian Johnson checks in on offense, something we haven't seen yet here today. Everybody looking at their play sheets. Dorian Johnson happens to have his right by his belt. Just now Clemens in that shotgun set, going forward on 4th down. Dropping back to throw, feeling the pressure in the middle of the field. Johnson brings it in, but it will be short of the goal line, bringing up a turnover on downs. I guess now California gets the ball.
And Clemens, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. Didn't even bother looking at the left side of the field. Knew Dorian Johnson was going to be open. Almost gets into the end zone, but just shut down by Brendan Edwards.
And that's 3 4th-down conversions now that have really all occurred in the red zone. And it's failing every single time now is Clarion. They scored earlier on in the contest, but now California gets an opportunity to just really run this clock out. We're going to look at California and Gannon yet again. It's going to be at 12 o'clock. I love those noon games. It's going to be an early one, though. I believe you guys are going to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun one, though.
Yeah.
Like I said, I always like to go up to Erie. As now Jimmy Wheeler rushes right up the middle of the field, and I mentioned they're going to run the clock out on this one. You're going to see a lot of these short runs. We got to pick up some yardage so you can keep the ball. 5 minutes and 10 seconds left. Let's see a big play too. You saw one of those late on in the contest last night with California High School, rather. Just want to make that known.
Really milking this clock out. I mean, letting it roll.
4 minutes and 45 seconds left in this game. Scott moves over to the right side of Keir, and then Jimmy Wheeler goes that way. Get out just short of the 10-yard line. Now get out to just about the 9. And you mentioned it, Steve. They're milking everything out of this one as they're going to milk the entire play clock. That's about 30 seconds after every play. The play clock just skipped. It was at 37, and then it just went down to 30. So you figure you can almost get about a minute every other play.
Yeah.
You know, it's
oh, yeah.
3rd and 4 at the 9. Now with 5 seconds left on the play clock, Nathaniel Scott moves over to the other side. Keir not seeing the play clock. It was at 1, but Keir now drops back to throw. Scott has it and then drops it on that one. Looked like he was almost about to pick up a first down if he brought that one in. As California is now forced to punt as they're in their own territory.
Clarion missing a lot of opportunities early in this game. You know, that really could come back and bite them because they have a good opportunity to score on this next drive, but they've wasted a lot of opportunities early in this game.
So now the punt is away. Johnson receives it at just about the 45-yard line. Did not call a fair catch yet again. And that's something that a young player like that, you don't want to get him hurt, just to be smart.
Yeah, and California needs to come up big on defense this next drive because 3:36, Clarion has both their timeouts remaining, and if they work this right, they could excuse me, I'm stumbling across my words. They could give California a scare.
It is October, so I mean, you could give him a scare.
Good one. I see what you did there.
Mascot for California is kind of just hanging out, watching the game. It's now Clemens. Pump fakes, steps back, throws, hit as he was thrown, and they're going to complete the pass at just about the Mason Standard, just about the 20-yard line. And the defense for California kind of caught napping on that one. You saw Jeff Clemens was coming down just as he threw and then right into the breadbasket of Mason Standard.
Yeah, and if California defensive back Aaron Brown,
and that is a touchdown, same place, same spot. Mason Standard gets into the end zone. Jeff Clemens now 2 consecutive passes right over to Standard and 2 straight completions getting into the end zone now.
And you know what? Clarion didn't even use any of their timeouts. They still have 2 left. And sorry, I was kind of taking a long time to get out what I was saying, missed that touchdown. But Clarion, I mean, they're giving California a scare. But what I was trying to say, Aaron Brown had a chance to pick that off that last the 2 throws ago when the quarterback was hit. If he would have turned around, he wasn't aware, and that ball just went right over his head.
Yeah, without a doubt, as Clarion has to make a sub in. Make sure there's all coverage out there on the field because they need as many points as they can get right now. Kick is up, and it is blocked, as that is now another blocked kick for California special teams. I mentioned that they have to get every point they possibly can. Well, that'll halt them just a little bit, and now it'll force them to possibly take a 2-point conversion. But Clarion still scored, making the score 21-13. California now has to milk this time out on the rest of this contest. Stay tuned. We have some more Vulcan football right here on CUTV.
The Friday Night Lights shine on CUTV. August 25th, California at Brownsville. September 1st, Monessen at Carmichaels. September 8th, Southmoreland at Charleroi. September 22nd, McGuffey at Elizabeth Forward. September 29th, Franklin Regional at Connellsville. October 6th, Trinity at Bell Vernon. October 13th, Rochester at California. October 20th, Newcastle at Ringgold. October 27th, Washington at Best Center. Live on CUTV Sports 1, tape delay, CUTV.
Hello and welcome back into Adamson Stadium. The score is 21-13 after a blocked kick, extra point for California. And now we're going to see an obvious onside kick. Now Clarion just trying to get back on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And Seton Hill, I believe, ran a few onside kicks in a row, and it worked for Seton Hill. So now we're going to see if California can really just lock down and be smart. We have the hands team out there. Let's see now where they're going to go with this one, and they actually are going to kick it off. And not smart, as that one is going to go out of bounds, bringing up a flag. But right intent, I guess you could say, as it looked like they were going to go for the onside kick, and a kicker for Clarion kind of looked back over at the sideline, and head coach gave him the nod that he wants to play some defense, force them to, I guess, earn it.
Why not? California hasn't scored in quite some time. The past few drives have been either a 3-and-out or California eventually punted it away. It's just Clarion not taking advantage of these opportunities. That's what it comes down to. So, heck yeah, if you're Clarion, you want to play defense.
Now we're going to see California take some more time off the clock yet again, just like they did on the last drive, although they couldn't move the ball. Therefore, they had to punt. Here in that shotgun set, Jalen Bell to his left. Puts Nathaniel Scott in motion. Bell has it now, trying to traverse upfield, and picks up about a gain of 2 on the play.
California, trying to milk that clock. 3 minutes and running left to play in this game, but you obviously have to pick up those yards while you're doing it.
And if you want to keep possession of the football, you definitely have to do that. You mentioned, Steve, that Clarion does have both of their timeouts, but if California can't move the ball, you really have to use them. But you want to save those for when you have the football. You want to save it for when you're driving down the field. It's now in that wishbone formation is California. Give it off to Jalen Bell yet again. That interior pressure from Clarion just getting there and breaking that play up. That was big number 98, Dante Paul, redshirt freshman.
Yeah, there's going to be a flag on the play, actually.
Not sure when that one came in. I looked down at my roster, looked back up, and there was a flag out there. Take a peek at what the referee calls it. It's going to be on Luke Smorey.
And that's the last thing you wanted in a situation like this. I don't think we'll be able to see it. You just see that run from California. So Clarion's going to burn one of their timeouts.
A player that you don't normally would think that would get the unsportsmanlike conduct either. It kind of seems like Luke Smorey is one of those level-headed guys, doesn't really allow things to get to him. And Smorey was already over at the bench and kind of came back over as they're having a little bit of a meeting. Jimmy Wheeler is trotting around the huddle.
At least someone has some high hopes in this game, trying to pump up his team.
It's still homecoming. He still wants to get his freak on.
Oh, gosh.
Rumping around the... But, Steve, it's in one of these situations, maybe that enthusiasm, maybe that confidence level is good.
Oh, yeah.
Due to the fact that, your team is still leading. It just kind of seems like at this point, California hasn't scored in the second half, rather. And they need to do something here to really just milk this clock off.
Yeah.
It's just...
It'll be interesting.
Time out. Yeah, most definitely will be. That's going to be a 3rd and 24. He's got a lot of field to work with. There's actually a lot of field to gain, rather. I think in this situation, now you have to drop back and throw. You want to keep the ball in your hand. 2 minutes and 21 seconds left in this contest. Now Kier looks to throw and then is going to give it over to Bell. Bell has some space in front of him, but not nearly enough, as he will be short even of the original line of scrimmage, just about the 31-yard line. So now forced to punt is California, and Clarion just used their third and final timeout. So this 2-minute offense is going to have to get started and be smart with the clock.
Yeah, work on that 2-minute drill. It'll be interesting to see what Clarion does with this. So we'll see what Clarion can do. And, you know, Danny, I talk about these missed opportunities. Clarion coming off a touchdown, but a missed extra point, and also passing up on those easy 3 points early on in the game multiple times when they went for it on 4th down. So Clarion really kicking themselves in the behind, thinking about that.
Most definitely are. They want to put some points on the board. They need them right now as they're down by 8. Dorian Johnson still back to receive for Clarion.
Dorian Johnson can set up some decent field position with a nice return.
A spiral punt as Johnson was calling for the fair catch. Now just about the 29-yard line, took a friendly bounce for California, and that's where they're almost, I guess you could say, final possession of the game, depending what happens on this drive. But California now, their defense is in the spotlight. I mentioned that they have to step up, and right now they're the only ones that can really stop the action out there on the field.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Clarion, we've seen a big pass from them on the first play of their last drive. We'll see if we can see it again.
Now with Clemens still back out there on the field. Some pressure in the middle of the field, and then finds an open guy right down the left side, and that is going to be Malik McGriff, and he's been really an impact performer here today. Kind of seems like he's just igniting a fire underneath this Golden Eagles team.
Yeah, you know, McGriff gets that ball, finds a path, and runs straight down Main Street on that one, getting past a few Vulcan defenders, stiff-arming his way out of bounds, and that's a great play to set up for an opportunity to score.
And stopping the clock as well as he ran out of bounds, as now Clemens tries to lead his receiver down the field, but he's about 10 yards ahead of his receiver as the ball flies right over the head of number 83, Mason Standard.
Yeah, Standard, he's fast, but he wasn't that fast. It looks like he stopped in the middle of his route as well, so maybe Clemens meant to overthrow that. Thought his receiver was going to continue going with his route.
Clemens, empty backfield, obviously throwing the ball here. And a huge hit by Lamont McFadder. And there's a flag called right in the middle of the field. You got to be thinking targeting. We're going to see the replay, though, and see exactly what happened. I believe we're going to take it after the call, as this is a tough call to really, or it's a tough place to really make a call in this situation even. Just due to the fact that, you know, sometimes the receiver is, I guess, the defenseless receiver. Or the guy coming in leads with his shoulder, kind of looks like he's leading with his head. Saw this with Ohio State and Maryland, I believe, was the game 2 weeks ago.
That wasn't a good call. I think that was a clean hit. I mean,
it was a clean hit, and that's the fine line. It's the gray area between this. Sometimes
because if you let that go,
you'll let a lot.
You'll let something that's a little bit worse than that, and then it's like a domino effect.
Yeah,
it keeps going on and on until enough is enough.
It's one of these case-by-case situations, and I think that's one of the more difficult plays to call. If you're a referee. I was gonna say head referee, but I mean you're all discussing it. We're gonna see what they call though. And Lamont McFadder, he kind of stood over the Clarion defender there as well.
Is there no foul for targeting?
There is no foul, so the contact was legal, I guess you could say. The words from head referee, and made a statement on that one. If anything, we can see it right there.
That's just a good clean hit,
right underneath basically the chin. Of Clarion player.
I'm glad we found that out because that was a bone-crushing hit. McFadder sending a statement.
Most definitely was, as now California is rushing up the middle of the field over in the area of Brennan Edwards. Almost intercepted that one for his second pick of the game. Led just out of bounds, though. Not sure if he's injured or if he's mad he did not make the catch, and he looks like he is injured. Clarion's training staff right there helping him out.
Yeah, it looks like he's in some serious pain. We're going to look at the replay. And he falls right on that left shoulder, and that can't be good.
But, Steve, that was a good effort from Brennan Edwards. Kind of looks like he was trying to make a play on the ball, kind of keep his feet in bounds. I think, honestly, I think that he's more frustrated than anything else. You know, with the one pick already here today. Could have had his second, but just out of bounds kind of, I'm not even sure in the area. It kind of seems like Jeff Clemens is trying to look at one receiver out there on the field, and Mason Standard just eyeing him down, and Brennan Edwards was the lone guy that would really been able to stop anything from happening on that play. Is number 35, I believe that is Nigel Garnett.
Here we go, Danny. This is the game right here.
It most definitely is, with 1 minute and 35 seconds left to go. Clemens still empty backfield. California heavy on that defensive side with the secondaries. Pressure on the outside. Clemens forced to step up, and he will pick up the first down, and a big hit from Nigel Garnett, and the flags come out. And a little bit late, as it clearly looked like Jeff Clemens was trying to get out of bounds. And
that is a penalty that could be avoided.
Yeah, it most definitely could. So now there's going to be a first down that was picked up.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds. Defense number 35.
Yeah, we'll take a look at this. I mean, Clemens had all the room in the world. He was going to run out of bounds and then just hit as he was going out of bounds. You could see right there, I mean, just nailed out of bounds, totally uncalled for by Garnett.
And I think that they said that the out of bounds, a late hit out of bounds, rather. I wouldn't say that he was out of bounds. I think it was just a.
He was in the process.
Yeah, he was trying to get out of bounds,
exactly.
and that's where the flag was. But referees weren't even in position.
And I mean, just look where Clarion is now. I mean, that's a 15-yard penalty. They should be at the 30-yard line right now.
It was tacked on to the end of the play, too, so you have to get some free yards if you're Clarion. So now Clemens drops back in the pocket, rushing right up the middle of the field, and now he's going to be sacked, but he's going to pick up about 2 yards on the play moving forward.
And this is where California's defense comes into question. Their defensive backs have to step up big time because you know they're going to go through the air.
And Mason Standard also, I just looked down, he's a freshman, Steve, so he's coming in and making a pretty big impact out here on the field today. As now right in the middle, I believe that was number 34, Cameron Jeffries.
Jeffries with the reception.
Just picking up some more yards, now under a minute left to go.
3rd down and 4.
Cal bringing the noise now, Danny.
So now Clemens looks to throw in the middle of the field. Good defense there, and they're actually going to call pass interference.
There is a flag on the play.
And that was on Devontae Suber. Frustrating calls right now out there on the field. Not having a level head is California.
Yeah, and you know what, Danny? I'm going to have to agree with this call. Just interfering with that receiver's route in the process. I mean, you're going to get that call every day of the week.
And on a veteran guy, Devontae Suber, too, you think he wouldn't make those play calls.
Defense, number 21, spot foul, automatic first down.
It will be a first down, half distance to the goal. So they're going to get at the 5-yard line. 33.8 seconds left. Now Evans is going to get right into the end zone. Score is now 21-19, pending this 2-point conversion attempt. But California just not being smart out there on the field, allowing Clarion to just march right down.
And this is the play of the game. I said it was before on that 4th down conversion. Now this is the game. This could decide if we go into overtime.
We're going to see now Jeff Clemens out there, and I believe there's going to be a stoppage in play. little bit of discussion out there on the field. Not sure what the reason was behind being stopped. Maybe the spotting of the ball as they move the ball back a little bit more. Another stoppage in play now as California is forced to take a timeout, draw up something to do as, you know, Steve, at this point in the game, just locked down, I guess you could say. Clemens seems like he can run the ball as well. We're going to take another look at this touchdown, though.
Yeah, Kyle Evans finds space. Look at that hole that he sees there, and then splits the two defenders, makes his way into the end zone, and we have a ball game on our hands.
We most definitely do, Steve, and all of this really could have been avoided, honestly. And, you know, with 29.6 seconds left in this contest, California, they're really beating themselves up. Not being smart out there with the late hit, the pass interference that was, it could have been completely avoided. It was good defense out there, but referee must have seen something. I didn't see the pass interference out there on that one. It kind of looked over at the last second, and Devontae Suber kind of poked his hand right in.
Yeah, I mean, it was. He made a lot of contact with the receiver.
But now we're going to see California trots back out onto the field, what they're going to be able to do, because at this point with 29 seconds left, we saw the Slippery Rock game. They sent it to overtime and then lost in overtime. So you want to try to avoid that if at all possible. So now Jeff Clemens, that shotgun set. Drops back, looking to throw. California's defense is right there, and the ball comes out, and it will be no good. The attempt is no good, and we're going to keep it here. And I was just going to mention that the fact that, you know, California, it kind of seems like even though they're winning, if they get out of this one, they're lucky.
Yeah,
and
very lucky.
The defense, though, stepped up right here with Cameron Tarver, poked the ball out kind of like a boxing. He just hit the guy right on the ball, right where the ball was, and kept the score 21-19. And now, Steve, you got to think, you return this and then just sit on the ball.
Yeah, you just kneel it and you're done. But Cal, like you said, they got out of here. They're going to get out of here with a win. Very lucky. That was a huge stop on that two-point conversion. Cameron Tarver, he was out for blood on that one. He got exactly what he was targeting for.
And answering back now, that's 19 unanswered points for Clarion, answering right back to California's 21-0 streak, I guess. And now onside kick, Steve.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's obvious in this situation that they want to get the ball back and try to score. But, you know, they pulled back the last time. I don't think that they're going to pull back this one.
No, I'd have to agree with you on that one.
But that was a smart play there from Clarion. I mentioned before, I said that I didn't know why Clarion wouldn't go for the onside kick, but they just ran the ball out because California really couldn't get any momentum. Now as they're lining up to attempt this onside kick. And they are going to do a little bit of a pooch kick, and they're going to fair catch it just about the 33-yard line. I don't know exactly what that was. I thought it was obvious situation that you have to go for the onside kick.
Yeah, why not?
It's been a little bit of a pooch kick. That's basically just rolling over.
Yeah, it was. I mean, just sending that one in the air. I don't know what they were going for with that one, but I know California is thanking them for that.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's basically giving them the ability to just sit on the ball and then run the clock out. California here today in a situation like the one that they were in, you know, kind of a risky just getting out of here just by the skin of their teeth.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be a lot to talk about in the locker room after this one going into Gannon.
Oh, without a doubt. And that's going to be your final score, 21-19 as the clock runs out. And I mentioned, Steve, by the skin of their teeth. That's an understatement here today. California came out strong, really, in that first half. getting the defensive effort and the offensive on both sides doing their part. And then towards the end of the game, some stupid penalties really plagued them. But anything else you want to add, Steve?
I mean, California considers themselves lucky. Clarion came out strong in the second half. California, overcoming a lot of adversity once again and coming away with a win. A very good game on homecoming and an even bigger win for California.
Yeah, getting on the right side of the win column after 3 weeks of not being in Adamson. Now they're finally back, and they're back in the right side of the win column. But that's how your homecoming game went, 21-19. Thank you for everybody watching, everybody in the truck, all the camera people. I was Danny Beck. Joined alongside me was Stephen Ruffing. Thank you, everyone, for watching.